You're listening to Black Cat Football and Greer Time Media. Let's take it to the booth with your host, Freddie Greer Sr.
I want to thank everybody that's joining us tonight for another game of Mexia Blackcat football. We're here at Blackcat Stadium. We're going to have the Mexia Blackcats against the Malakoff Tigers. Another breezy night. Luckily, it's cooled down tonight, Freddie.
Yeah, it's a pretty good night tonight. Not as hot as it was.
We have two teams coming off big wins last week, as we have Malakoff that's coming off of 2 wins. The first game of the year they played Tig, and they won 40-14, I believe. And last week they won 77-7. So they are very high-powered. And last week the Blackcats put on a show here at Blackcat Stadium, and they were up 49-7 at one point, and ended up winning 49-21 against the Tig Lions. So these two teams right here have one opponent in common so far this year, Freddie.
Yeah, they do. I was looking today on the game recap. I'm going to do a recap of Mexia Blackcats with Jarrell Riley with a 70-yard touchdown pass. Then you go over to Jaden Proctor with a 40-yard touchdown. Then you come back with Cooper with an interception return for a touchdown. Then you have Lamarian Miller for a 30-yard touchdown. Then you come back with a 52-yard pass to Trey Hullum. Then you have a 16-yard touchdown pass from Evan Harrison with a total yards of 387 yards, passing yards with 199, and rushing yards with 188.
Well, that's a pretty good performance coming off the week before where they had some big plays against Cameron. And as you could tell, you've seen a lot of growth from the first game to the second game for the Blackcats. And it's just exciting to see how much more growth that we're going to have tonight watching this Blackcat team come out here on their home field and playing on the Big Red M.
It's going to be a nice night tonight.
We do have a cool breeze here tonight. And Malakoff is going to be in white with black letters with yellow around them. And they're a pretty good-sized ball team here, Freddie.
Yeah, some pretty big boys. Kind of like last night with the JV game. The Malakoff JV had some pretty nice-sized guys.
The offensive line for Malakoff looks like to be probably the biggest offensive line that we've played this year. And they're what you would call wide receivers and running backs. They're specialty players. They're tall. They look very tall out there.
They're very tall. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that.
So the Blackcats will have their hands full, but after watching the growth from the week before and the growth from that I expect for the Blackcats to take the leap that we take this week, we are to see a pretty darn good football game here tonight at Blackcat Stadium.
Yeah, to me, this is the game of the week.
Yes, I've looked around the area here, and I've got some games that we didn't talk about tonight here. And there's actually Central Texas is having a really big week this week on games around here. I was looking earlier today. We're going to have Wortham playing Bartlett in Wortham. Abbott's playing Penelope. And then we got Milford, number 1 and 6-man traveling to Oakwood, which is number 4. And they're going to play in Oakwood. They're playing over there tonight at 7:30. We're going to have Mart is traveling to Franklin tonight. And Mart's coming off of a loss, which they don't come off very often. So I'm looking for them to bounce back in a big way. Hillsboro's playing Whitney. Grosback's traveling down to Marlin. They're going to play, I bet you didn't know this, but Marlin is on one of the only grass fields left.
You're right about that.
Here.
Yeah, you are right about
Everybody else has pretty much went to turf, but Marlin is still playing old school grass ball.
Do you ever think they'll get it?
You know, I imagine Marlin's lucky just to have what they have right now. They've had a lot of academic problems down there, but hopefully they're getting that straightened out where they'll be able to exist and keep on playing football on that grass field. I've played down there a couple of times, and, man, that field, there's not much to it, but it is nice to play on grass. Yeah. Conley will be traveling to China Spring tonight. Athens will be traveling to Fairfield. Crockett's traveling to number 2 Grapeland. Caldwell will be traveling to the Madisonville Mustangs. Of course, number 2 Malakoff is here at Mexia Blackcats Stadium. And I don't have it on here, but Robinson was playing a team in Waco too. And I've got to find out who La Vega's playing this week.
What about the loss? Did La Vega come back and win that game last week?
No, La Vega. It was so funny because you had 2 state champions last week in the La Vega Pirates and the Mart Panthers, who normally very seldom come out on the losing end. And to see both of those teams lose in the same week was just unbelievable.
So who La Vega got tonight, you say?
Let's look that up real quick. For some reason, I'm not for sure why my team. Let's add La Vega on here. They're 4A Division I. Since we've started doing these games, I've went in and I have a scoreboard where I have all the teams that we have around here, and we're able to just follow them throughout the game and give up local updates without having to go from one area to the next. I can just pull up my teams I have here, and of course La Vega was 4A Division I. Let's see here. While I'm looking for that, the Blackcats are leaving the field, going in to get ready to get suited up, and as Malakoff is also exiting the field, and the sun's coming down and shining on this field, and it is very nice looking out here tonight. Can't wait to hear that national anthem and get some football underway on Friday Night Football from Blackcat Land.
So if you're home and you can't make the game tonight, please go to Mexia Sports Network where you'll be able to hear the game live. We're also doing a feed that you will be able to see tomorrow night.
We'll add all of that District 5 from La Vega over there, so let's go see who La Vega's playing tonight. Well, this is going to be the 3rd game on the schedule. Next week, Freddie will be taking our own air situation on the road.
Yeah, we'll be going to, we have to go to, what is it, Cold Spring?
Yes. Still not sure. Robinson will be playing Troy tonight. Lorena will be playing the Lampasas Badgers.
So all you ones at home tonight that couldn't make the game, that's stuck at work, working 6 teams, make sure, again, to tune into Mexia Sports Network.
As we got the bands entering the stadium, Mexia has just entered to get over in their side of the stands on the home side, and Malakoff just come behind us, and they are entering the stands. Both bands look to be pretty entertaining tonight, as Malakoff looks like they have a pretty good-sized band for a small school.
Yes, they do. Jim, let's talk a little bit about yesterday's game with JV and Malakoff.
What did they play last night?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. That's a good question.
We had a tough night down there in Malakoff. Our young cats had a tough night. La Vega's actually going to be playing LBJ Austin tonight in Waco. But, yes, the young cats last night had a really rough night. To come out and kick in opening kickoff, returned it back for a touchdown. Looked like we were going to be really good, and it was 14-6 at halftime, and that's when the wheels really fell off for the young cats. I'm not for sure if we got somebody hurt. From what I understood, I will tell you this: we had our center last night had some wisdom teeth pulled on the JV, so we had a different center in there. So when the center is as important as a quarterback sometimes, because your center is who makes all your line calls. That has make sure everybody goes where they're supposed to. But when you put that backup center in there, you have to adjust. And being JV football, you're a scout for a lot of the varsity stuff.
Yeah.
So you're not working on your stuff as much as, say, the varsity does. So when you have to replace that main key right there in the middle, it's tough. So I was talking to some of the coaches today, and they said that was one of the biggest problems last night was they didn't have their normal center in there. So, but our running backs and our quarterback, sure enough, showed toughness last night because pretty much every time the ball touched their hands, they were getting hit.
Ooh. So tonight's game is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Woodman Life, Joe Fridays, and Greer Time Media and Mahel Sports Network.
Yeah, we've enjoyed being home the last 2 nights, and starting next week we got a long drive down around the Houston area.
Yeah, long drive there. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Park, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
listening to Black Cat Football and Greer Time Media. Let's take it to the booth with your host, Freddie Greer Sr.
Yes, we're back here at Black Cat Field, and the game's going to be brought to you tonight by Freddie Greer and Jeremy Sunday, as we're getting ready for both the teams to be suited up and come back out on the field. As the stadium is starting to fill up, getting closer to time. We got about 23 minutes to go before we start the ball game. Freddie, by the first two games, the leap Mexia made from the first game to the second game, if they make that same leap from the second to the third, they're going to give Malakoff a real run for their money tonight.
Yes, sir. I believe they will. I believe tonight we got a game plan.
Well, the one thing that the Black Cats have accomplished in their first two games is they have swarmed the ball when the ball carrier had the ball, except for just a couple of long breakaway plays. For the most part, they have swarmed to the football in the first two games of the year.
I believe Jarrell Wiley's going to have a real big night tonight.
He is the explosive breakaway weapon that the Black Cats need. He's had a long run from scrimmage the first play of the game last in Cameron, and then last week on the opening drive he had that long 70-yard touchdown reception, and when he broke into the open, you knew there was nobody going to catch him.
They wasn't catching him at all.
Jaden is another one to watch. He is very elusive in the open field. If you get him in the open field, then he's amazing. He's amazing to bring down. I mean, one tackler is not going to bring Jaden Proctor down.
No, you're right about that.
And another bright spot last week was Trey Holdman come up with a couple of big catches, and Lamar and Miller come up with a big catch on the outside for a touchdown. So as our year progresses, we're going to see more and more playmakers step forward for these Cats. And by the time we get in district, hopefully we'll have our machine well oiled and ready to rock and roll, because we do have a really tough district.
We do. And I believe on top of that, when you're saying that Trey Holman had a big night, I'm going to go back and talk about how Evan Harris had a real good night.
He did catch that touchdown across the middle. They confused him and run a little misdirection, and they slid someone out into the open to the flats, and as they went to cover the flats, Evan cut back across the field on like a little skinny post and caught a touchdown. And that's the type of plays that you have to have these days in your new offense, is a misdirection. To line them up and run over you and just say that we're going to make a better play than you, those days are over. You cannot keep up with this misdirection offense that everybody's gone to. So
by looking at last night, the Malakoff, do you believe that Malakoff will keep the ball on the ground?
You know, there's not too many teams anymore that's going to keep the ball on the ground on a continuous basis. But from what I've seen tonight, watching their quarterbacks throw, I believe you're going to see spread offense, and we're going to throw the ball.
I believe that. You're right. You're exactly right.
They have some tall wide receivers that look like they had a little speed to them. And their running back and their quarterback both were pretty tall. It's unbelievable to see a school. Malakoff is a smaller school than Mexia, but to see the size that they have is just unbelievable.
You're right.
There's a reason they're ranked number 2 in state.
Number 2 in state. It would be, if Mexia pull this game off tonight, it would be a big upset.
Yes, Mexia, and it would build their confidence and go a long ways to the rest of the season for the Black Cats if they're able to pull this upset off tonight. As Malakoff starts pulling in, it looks like Malakoff really follows their team really well. There's getting to be a lot more black and yellow here in the stands.
Yeah, Mexia side's starting to fill up.
Well, being home team, last time we had just about this many fans, and you looked up right at kickoff and you did not see too much silver over there. It was pretty full by the time kickoff got here. And just a Mexia tradition, everybody lines the fence all the way back toward the concession. Been doing that for 40 years. Ever since I can remember coming to my first Black Cat football games when I was about 4 years old, my mom and dad had season tickets to all those games. And so I grew up coming to the games, grew up being in the games, and now at this time we're calling the games. So it's just a Black Cat transformation for me, Freddie.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It took me a while to convert over from a goat to a Black Cat.
Well, we're glad to have you. If it wasn't for Freddie, we wouldn't have this game on the air for y'all. Once again, I do want to shout out to our sponsors, and anyone that wants to sponsor, please let us know. It's $150 for a whole year. Your business, your family, anybody that wants to do this is able to do it. It's $150 for the whole year. You'll get your name called out for the football games. We'll be doing basketball games and baseball games. The ones that we have right now is I want to thank you, Napa Auto Parts, for your sponsorship. Mookie's Barbecue, thank you for your sponsorship. Greer Time Media. We have Greer Time Mobile Detail, Rod Greer. We got Joe Fridays, thank you for your sponsorship. And, of course, Woodman Life, my company, is a sponsor. And just thankful that we could be out here to call this Black Cat football game and bring it to you Black Cat fans that are not able to make it to the game, because some people have to work, some people just can't get here, had family events come up. But now, starting this year, it doesn't matter what happens. You can listen to the Black Cats live with Freddie Greer and Jeremy Sunday. We have about 17 and a half minutes before we start the football game tonight. As everybody's starting to pile in, the coaches are coming up here to the press box. And, man, there's just a lot of electricity in the air tonight, Freddie.
Yeah, it's a lot of electricity in the air tonight.
When you bring in the number 2 team in 3A, I believe they're Division I, to Black Cat Field, you can't help but get excited as a Black Cat fan, because seeing that number 2 beside them, that shows you that they are good.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right about that.
And before you go into district, you want to be tested and you want to see what you have. So it's going to be a big night here at Black Cat Field, and we're hoping that hopefully our Cats can come out on top against these Tigers. We got 2 Cats fighting each other. You got the Black Cat and you got the Tiger.
Got the Tigers.
But as I look down here, Malakoff looks like they don't live but about 15 miles down the road from us, as many fans as they have coming in, Freddie.
Yeah.
They have cars parked all the way back to the Mexia Black Cat weight room and just steadily walking in. And the parking lot for the Black Cat side is getting full right now. So we got the Mexia Black Cats hosting the Malakoff Tigers tonight, the number 2 Malakoff Tigers, might I say. We're going to bring you the starting lineups tonight right after the national anthem, as we get here and gather some more information. We're hoping you Black Cat fans out there, and if we do have some Malakoff Tiger fans that's found us, we are so glad to have y'all listening to us. We're hoping you enjoy the call from Freddie Greer and Jeremy Sunday, and I see Wallace High is on his way up here to help with play-by-play. But as I said earlier, you can just look across the field to the Black Cat side. The cheerleaders are bouncing back and forth. The band's playing a little bit. Over here, Malakoff's cheerleaders are playing, and just lots of excitement in the stadium.
Yeah, I love Friday night football.
This is the best time of the year, Freddie. If you love football, think about this. Now you have us calling JV football games on Thursday night, and there's college football games on Thursday night. I was at the house cooking hot dogs for the junior class for their concession down here, and I flipped on to ESPN, and there was a college football game on live. So you got college football game on Friday night. We got Friday night football, college football all day Saturday. Then we got NFL on Sundays, go Cowboys. And then we have Monday night football. So really now there's only 2 days a week. There's nothing on TV to watch if you're a sports fan.
I do also want to give Mexia Sport Network is now affiliated with SNH Sports, so I'd like to give Rob Hipp and his guys want to say thank you for giving Mexia Sports Network this opportunity.
Here we come. They're fixing to bring the the boys back on the field. It looks like we got about a little under 15 minutes before we start up.
So what we do, we're going to go to a quick break right quick, and we will be right back.
At Black Cat Field, getting ready for the Mexia Blackcats and Malakoff Tigers.
To Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Park, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
You're listening to Black Cat Football and Greer Time Media. Let's take it to the booth with your host, Freddie Greer Sr.
As we're back to Black Cat Field, getting ready for the Mexia Blackcats against the Malakoff Tigers. The Blackcats have just come back on the field, warming up, getting ready to start this game, as we're going to start in about 10 minutes. But the next 10 minutes, we're going to take you through time of prayer, and then we're going to take you through the national anthem, and then we'll have the captains out on the field, find out who's going to receive the opening kickoff, and then that will be time for some Black Cat football from Black Cat Stadium with Jeremy Sunday, Freddie Greer, and Wallace Hodge joining us in the booth tonight. Freddie?
Yes, sir.
I'm hoping tonight that this Black Cat team is going to take that extra step like they did between 1 and 2 and make this a heck of a ball game.
I believe they will. I do.
As Black Cats are on the field warming up, we have Malakoff coming across the baseball field, getting ready to come out here and join us. The one thing I can say for Malakoff being a smaller school, they have got some big boys on their team. There's a reason they're ranked number 2 in state.
You're right. Yeah, that's right. It's not size guys.
And they've got a tradition. They've been good for the past 5-10 years. They've fielded a really good football team. And now we went down there last year, and I think they handed it to us pretty good. But now they get to come down here and play at the home of the Blackcats. And when you go on the road, it's a little bit different from when they come to you.
You're right. Yes, sir. You're exactly right.
As Mejia's got their blow-up Big Cat tunnel run-through up, and Malakoff just got theirs up. As I said a minute ago, we got the battle of two cats here. We got the Blackcats and the Tigers. The Tigers being white with black letters and gold stripes. Everybody's in black and gold over here. And, of course, the Blackcats, as usual, are black and red with white letters. And here we go with the Mexia Blackcat song. Everybody's raising their hand, shaking their paws. You know, when you hear that song, we're getting ready for some good football, Wallace.
Oh, yeah. You know, the crimson and black. If you're from Mexia, that when the band starts that song up, you know that the game's about to get going, and we're expecting some good things tonight.
Wallace, when this Malakoff team walks down here you just got up here with us, when they walk down here and you see the size of some of their offensive linemen, me and you probably need to go ahead and go put our pads on and go out there and help them cats tonight, because them boys are big.
Yeah, you know, Malakoff, they're in one of those periods that a lot of schools, we've been through it before here in Mexia. They're in it now, where it seems like they have some kids that were bred to get out on the gridiron. They're big, they're athletic. One thing, talking to a few Malakoff people, that I've learned is some of those bigger lineman guys they had last year on that state championship run team, they aren't out here this year. They graduated a couple decided not to play football this year, and they're actually pretty young across that front line on the offensive side.
Well, as we get going here, I have marked down some of the starters, and I've got a few more to gather as we get out here, but we'll get the starters brought to you on offense from each team when we get started. But Malakoff is lining up in their tunnel. They're getting ready, and Mejia's still overstretching, warming up a little bit. But like I said, the stands are filling up on both sides.
Yeah, just looking out across the facility, you still see people driving in, trying to find a place to park, walking up, trying to get into the stadium. And so I think it'll be just like it is every week. It may not look like it's full right now, but by the time the first quarter gets going good, those stands are going to kind of fill up, and there won't be much metal.
Malakoff is joining us here on the field as they come in with 3 Texas flags waving. They don't have a lot of boys, but they have some big ones down there.
Yeah, they're a solid program. You know, anytime you're coming off a season where you play for a title, you can expect to return some guys that have some experience and a lot of pride. And you know, even though the numbers may not be there, you can expect that they're going to be ready to get out and knock some heads, and it's going to be a good, tough game.
And as you're talking, our Blackcats are lining up in their tunnel, and here comes out our Little Cats. They have our Little Cats that come out first, running onto the field with some little cheerleaders. And now here comes that big Blackcat flag that they lead out with. And the Blackcats have come out on the field, so now we have both teams out. We'll be getting our team captains ready, and we're getting ready for some smash mouth football.
Oh yes, exciting time as both teams line up across the sideline, facing midfield. The referees and umpires are out, about to call the captains out for the coin toss.
As Malakoff stands here, it looks like their captains are getting ready, and Mejia's captains are stepping up, and we're getting closer and closer to kickoff here. Wallace, can you just feel the electricity in the stadium with the number 2 team from Malakoff being here at Blackcat Land?
Yeah, and I don't want to say there's no love lost between the two teams, because we haven't been a rival with each other for very long, but a lot of these kids know each other very well. They've played each other in many different sports, be it basketball, baseball, the last few years in football. And
Well,
just like
right.
just like any Mexia team or any Malakoff team, they're not going to want to lose as the captains approach midfield.
And then we'll have Dravion Cooper from Mexia, Brian Luna, J.R. Deichler, and I can't tell that last Black Cat. He has his jersey up, 44.
44.
Would be Dawson Scott for the Malakoff Tigers. We have Dylan Stearman, Zamir Ruiz, Caben Trimble, and Andrews Garrett as they flip the coin toss. Lands on the M. Looks like Malakoff has won the toss. And they have deferred to the second half, as the Black Cats will be receiving the ball in the opening kickoff. As we're getting ready for the third week of high school football here in the state of Texas. I imagine if you ask most people in Texas what's their favorite time of the year, Wallace, I bet they're going to tell you high school football time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, living in this state, if someone doesn't say football is a whole nother season, you know. One of the jokes that I like to see is a lot of people say that, you know, football season is a season. They don't even include it in fall. As
both teams return to the sideline, we're going to have a moment of silence here. Thank you for your moment there. And now we're going to have the national anthem as both teams get ready. I'd love to give a big shout out to our servicemen and women that make this possible for us to have a free country. Thank y'all for everything y'all done for us. As we get set here for some Black Cat football, the Black Cats will be receiving this week once again, as Malakoff will be kicking off. It looks like they'll be kicking from right to left. Wallace, we had a little breeze up here before you got up here, and you look out there now, and there's no breeze on the flags.
They raised the flags, and they just laid there. They didn't sway. They didn't swing. There's no flapping. I see the Texas flag kind of trying to wave a little bit, but I think that may just because it's a smaller flag. You know, looking up at the goalpost, and those flags on top of the goalpost aren't moving very much either. So looks like it's gonna be a nice still Friday the 13th night here at Black Cat Field.
As we come out here and the teams take the field, we're going to have Holdman and Lamar and Miller returning as usual. And 23, Orrin Henry will be kicking off for the Malakoff Tigers, as Malakoff is in white, black with gold trim on their letters. And, of course, the Black Cats are in there black on black with white letters with red trim. As we're getting ready for the kickoff, and it's a kickoff for the Malakoff and Black Cats here. B.J. Sunday takes this, and he's going to run up the middle, and he's going to be tackled about the 35-yard line.
Yeah, we got a nice little bell ringer kick there from Malakoff, and Sunday got under it and caught the ball and got about a good 6 or 7 yards on the return before he was drugged down by the Tigers.
As the Black Cats come out here on the field, we'll try to get you a starting lineup.
Looks like in the backfield we'll have Jaden Proctor, Jarrell Wiley.
And on the line, we're going to have James Abraham, Brandon Ghost, Matthew Hudson, Jacob Kyle, and we'll get the other starter for you in just a second after this play. And it's going to be a little pitch out to the left to Trey Holdman.
Got a pickup of about 3 yards on first down.
Jonathan Hernandez is the one, big as they call them, big uglies down there, is that we forgot to mention. And Evan Harrison is a starter, along with Trey Holdman, Christian Clark, and Jordan Holum up to the top. We got twins up to the top and 2 running backs in the backfield and 1 down here to the right. Snap back to
Wiley. He comes off around.
Oh, that's got to be a penalty. Are they not going to call that horse collar?
Yeah, that was a clear horse collar tackle. And
I'm not for sure how they got away with that.
Throw a flag out on that one.
That tackle right there has hurt a lot of players.
Right.
And at every level.
At every level. I mean, it became a rule after the Terrell Owens incident in the NFL.
So the Black Cats come to the line with trips to the top. Proctor in the backfield by himself and Clark down here. And it's a snap back, and Proctor was not ready for it. So the Black Cats are going to have to punt on their opening possession.
Yeah.
Number 21, Jalen Mosley for the Tigers will drop back to receive the punt, and we'll have Prince Banks punting for the Black Cats. That wasn't a good open series for the Cats.
No, it wasn't. The missed snap really hurt him, so you're going to need a good punt and then a good solid stand by your defense. And that's a very
nice
good
punt by Banks and a fair catch.
Yeah. The ball's caught at about the 31-yard line.
Well, that's where the Tigers will take over, is on their own 31-yard line. One thing that hurt the young Cats last night was exactly what just hurt the Cats on the first series. Snaps were terrible for the JV last night. We lost, I think, if I counted right, it was 6 snaps over the quarterback's head last night.
Yeah, I mean, when you're playing a team like Malakoff that's as good as they are, you can't help them out by giving turnovers, bad miscues on offense, those type of things. Those things the Cats are going to have to shore up really quick.
And we'll get the opening starting lineup for the Malakoff Tigers to you in just a second after this play. Snap back to number 3.
Handoff to 10. And he rushes straight ahead for about 4 or 5 yards.
The starting offensive line for Malakoff will be number 50, Javion Hornbuckle, 52, Colby Rush, 54, Zamir Reyes, 56, Cannon Hurd, and 71, Julian Gonzalez. Your starting quarterback's Darion Peace. Starting running back is Kevy Rose. Reagan Smith is a wide receiver. And Nathan Jones is a up back for the Malakoff Tigers as he goes in motion, snap back to Peace.
Quarterback keeps it.
And they kept him, and he is going to be tackled for about a 2-yard gain.
Yeah, looking at it, number 50 for the Cats had him in his sights in the backfield for a loss, and he just overran him, and the quarterback was able to keep the ball, maneuver around, and pick up about 2 more yards.
Well, it's going to bring up a 3rd and about 4 for the Tigers, and let's see if this Black Cat defense can't stand strong here. They come to the line. We're going to have trips to the right and 1 wide receiver down to the bottom, and Peace at quarterback as he motions out his running back. So it's motion 2 to the Peace, and he's going to drop back and throw a pass.
And it's off the hands of number 1.
If the cornerback would have looked up,
it would have been a pick six. Yeah,
that's Frankie Smith, which is filling in for Regarion Hicks, as we lost him last week to a cracked bone in his leg. We do have J.R. Deichler back tonight. He was cleared to come back to play, as Trey Holdman is going to drop back to receive this punt, and number 7, Jalen Hart, will be punting for the Tigers. It's good to get one Black Cat back, but it's terrible to lose another one.
You never want to see injuries to these young men. We have a flag down as the punt gets off, and the Cats will let it bounce.
That's going to be real interesting because it looked like there was motion in the line, but then the Black Cat jumped. So Now it's going to be up to the referees to see.
As of right now, the ball was downed at about the 14-yard line of the Cats, but we're going to wait to see what this flag is.
They're going to call offsides on the Blackcats, which will be enough yardage to give the Malakoff Tigers a first down.
Yeah, and that's not what you want from the Cats. You know, you didn't have a great offensive set to start out, and then you come out and you get a good stop on third down and force a punt, and then you get an offsides penalty that gives them yardage to get for a first down, and now they're going to start at about the 43-yard line with a new set of downs.
Sandoval is not very happy over there because he's saying that there was motion before the Blackcats jumped. And from my view, it looked like there was some motion, but either way, the Zebras are always going to be correct.
Right.
And the Blackcats line up, stopping them again with 1st and 10 for the Tigers. Snap back to Peace, and it's just going to be a straight handoff.
He rumbles up for about 7 yards on that carry on first down.
I was talking to some people, and they told me, they said Malakoff has one really big guy, and I don't know where they went and watched, but it looks like a bunch of really big guys out there to me.
Yeah, they have a bunch of really big guys and then one that's bigger than all the really big guys. And he's not much bigger than him. He's just really tall.
We got Darian Peace in at the quarterback, and now they have Deldrick Davis beside him, and they're going to motion him out and be single back, running back, and he's going to run up the middle.
Quarterback keeper.
And he's going to have enough for a first down. As they're not getting any big plays, they're just getting small plays to move the chains.
Moving the ball down the field, you know, chunks here and there, 5, 6 yards, 3, 4 yards here, and the chains end up moving. Cats are going to have to really bow up in the middle of that line because right now it looks like Malakoff's just looking to run the ball.
They've put one in the air and everything else has been on the ground. We still have Peace at quarterback and Davis in the backfield to his left. Now we're going to have that motion that Sandoval was looking for earlier.
Right.
That will bring up a 1st and 15 for the Tigers on the Blackcat 50-yard line.
I'm not sure who they got on that one, Jeremy, but, you know, just watching out on the field, it looks like those up backs are leaning and rocking forward, and those linemen just kind of get tired of leaning forward on those hands, and you hold it long enough, they end up moving.
As Peace takes the snap, he's going to hand off to Davis, and he's going to be around the right side. He breaks a few tackles.
He rumbles.
For about 14 yards.
Yeah.
That was another thing that killed the JV last night is on 2 of their drives, we missed tackles just like that. Had them wrapped up 2 or 3 yards downfield and missed a tackle, and next thing you know, they pick up 14, 15 yards. And those are just backbreakers for you.
Yeah, the Blackcats got caught reaching for the runner then on that play and reaching out trying to grab him with arms, and he was just breaking through those arm tackles and ended up getting a big gain.
As we got trips to the right, we got Peace at quarterback. He motions one to the left, and he's got Davis behind him. Straight
pass out to the right flat, and number 2 gives a little shake, and
that would be Hart on the reception.
He goes out about the Blackcat 31.
Enough for another Tiger first down, and they're slowly but surely marching down the field here, Wallace.
Yeah. You're getting into that zone where the defense is going to have to really pick up something to keep them from getting any points on the board.
Well, what it looks like to me is they've got a lot of misdirection going, and they're getting just 1 or 2 Blackcats out of where they need to be, and that's where they're going.
Yeah, and they have a quarterback that's dangerous with his feet, and we're trying to be attentive to that.
Snap back to Pieces. He's going to hand off to Davis.
He bobbles it in the backfield,
and
the ball's on the
ground.
Oh, and
Malakoff got lucky.
Number 54 seemed to be in the right place at the right time there and just fell on top of the ball as about 3 Cats were pursuing it.
Well, your offensive linemen don't get mentioned very often, but that is one time if they recover a fumble that they get mentioned.
Yeah.
And that's going to bring up a 2nd and 16.
When you're run blocking and you end up being driven 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage as an offensive lineman, you hope something like that happens. So.
Well, the Blackcats, they come back up and throw out to the right, wide open wide receiver, number 1, Garrett for the Tigers. And that's going to be a pickup of about 8 and bring up a 3rd and 7.
Yeah, it looks about 3rd and 7.
See if this Black Cat defense can't stiffen up here.
One thing I see, we're playing soft in our secondary, and I don't think Malakoff's really testing us downfield. They're hitting us with a lot of short stuff, just taking what the Cats are giving them right now. And Malakoff's got some little shifty, quick guys out there on that edge, so we're going to have to be sure and make sure we're making tackles when they get the ball out there.
Well, we got 4 minutes and 50 seconds left in the first quarter, and it's a 0-0 game with the Tigers driving.
Quarterback
and another misdirection,
a little screen,
bubble screen, and that's going to be enough for another Tiger first down as they take it down to about the 14-yard line of the Black Cats.
That was number 12 for the Tigers.
That's going to be Reagan Smith. And that was another good misdirection. They had everybody flowing to the left and turn around and bubble screen to the right. That's the one thing that looks like with this Malakoff offense is it's pretty much misdirection just about every play. So we have one motion into the left for him. Snap back to Peace. He's going to keep it.
We got Dawson Scott is pursuing, and
a host of other Black Cats
bring him down.
They're going
to
hold
him up, and forward progress is stopped. That looks like a loss of about 10 yards on that play.
The Black Cats needed a big defensive stand right there.
Yeah.
That was the play they needed.
Brings up about second and about a long 19, we'll call it 20, and the Cats, if they can hold right here, that would be big for them.
That'll give the momentum back to the Black Cats, and that's the biggest thing in a football game is how much momentum swings during the football game. As the Tigers come up, he comes up with two backs on one back on each side of Peace. He snaps back and he hands off to the inside, and the Black Cats are going to be right there again.
And it looks like he may have lost a yard on that as well.
And that was
number 12 for the Cats.
Jabrian Busby on that stop. They come outside, and he was right there to hit him head up. And that was as far as he went until a host of other Black Cats got there with him. Now the Tigers will come up now. It's the same 20 yards to get, but it's third down now. There's not a lot of 3rd and 20 plays in the playbook.
No, as the Cats are going to have to hold them, Expect some type of misdirection that you've seen the whole game. And
Peace moves 10 out to the flat, and he's out there all by himself.
There's nobody out.
And it's going to be popped up in the air.
And you know what? 31, Frankie Smith made a great play because nobody picked up 10 when he motioned out. And Frankie Smith came off of the outside receiver and ran number 10 down, running up the seam, and just knocked the ball away at the last second.
He left his man out in the flat, and with the speed that he possessed was able to close. And now they've brought a kicker out, and we're going to try a 41-yard kick. Wallace in pregame, this was not impossible for this kicker. He was putting them in from about 45 yards out with nobody in front of him.
Yeah, we'll see if the Cats can get a push.
Kick will be by Romero. Snap back. Romero kicks it, and it looks like
it's no
good.
Left, wide left.
He could have made that from 52.
Yeah, he had plenty of leg. That ball crossed the upright, still going up on that kick. He just hooked it and didn't get it far enough to the right on there.
But as the Black Cats have done this year, they bent, but they didn't break. And they were able to get the Tiger offense off the field. We have 2 minutes and 37 seconds left here.
And the Cats will come out and take over again on their own 31.
As we have a fast-paced moving game here, we haven't had many passes. It's been mostly runs on the ground. As the Black Cats will get the ball for the second time, we got Proctor and Wiley in the backfield. We got twins to the top and twins to the bottom. Snap back, and it's going to be a –
and Proctor keeps it, but the Tigers were not fooled by that play.
Right there, Proctor just has to pull up and throw it out of bounds. He's got to get it past the line of scrimmage and down the field to keep from – I mean, that's a 10-yard loss, and that kills you on the first play.
On that RPO, once you get to that point, you got to get rid of the ball. You can't hold it and take that loss. It's hard when you're running an RPO. You think you can make something, but every now and then you just have to throw it away and live to see another play.
So we bring up a 2nd and 20 from the Black Cat 14. And we got Proctor in there with Wiley in the backfield. Snap back to Proctor, and he's rolling out to the right. He's going to throw back to the left, and we have an offensive lineman gets in front of Evan Harrison's way.
You know what? And that play was set up. If Harrison's able to catch that ball and the lineman's out of the way, he probably rolls close to get close to the first down on that. There wasn't a Tiger.
There was 4 Black Cat blockers out there, 3 Tigers and Evan.
Yeah.
But we weren't quite able to pull that off, so we're going to have the Black Cats at a 3rd and 20, and this was what happened last night with the JV. We were at 3rd and 20 about 4 or 5 times, and there's just not too many plays on 3rd and 20 that you can dial up. So we got to snap back to Proctor. He drops straight back, and he's going to get tackled, and he's going to get
and he's taken down
at the 8-yard line. So the Black Cats on that possession went straight backwards.
Yeah. They started out with the ball at the 31, and looks like they're going to snap the punt from about the 9-yard line.
As we'll have number 21, Mosley, back to return for the Tigers. This is going to give the Tigers great field possession. That Black Cat defense is going to have to come up strong one more time, Wallace.
Yeah, you don't ever want to get pinned back close to your end zone, and when you have a chance to make a play and get the ball in pretty decent field position, you hate that you're not able to take advantage of it. But the snap's back to Prince Bank, and he punts it away. It's a fair catch by Mosley at the 39-yard line.
It's going to be great starting field position with 1:33 to go in the first quarter for the Tigers. We're going to go to break here. We'll bring you who our sponsors are, and we'll be right back to Black Cat Field with Jeremy Sunday and Wallace High.
Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer & Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
As we come back to Black Cat Field, the Tigers run out, and they have the same starting lineup with Davis beside Peace, waiting on the snap. He snaps back, and he fakes it to Davis and throws it out to number 2, Hart, and he's going to be tackled after about a 3-yard gain.
Again, it looks like the Tigers are just taking what the Black Cats are giving them. They're taking those little short dump passes and letting their athletes get out and work in space.
Brings up a 2nd and 7 from the Black Cat 36. And we have Peace in the backfield with Davis again. We got motion, snap back to Peace. He hands off to Davis, and he's going to be tackled for about a 4-yard gain.
Bring up about 3rd and 3.
As the clock continues to run, we have 48 seconds left here at Black Cat Field in the first quarter with a 0-0 score. Malakoff is looking over to the sideline to get the play. Got 19 seconds on the play clock as Malakoff comes to the line.
Line up with twins to the top. We send her up back in motion. Snaps back.
Hand off to Davis. And he's just going to pound up the middle for about forward.
And he was hit at the line of scrimmage, and he just turned his back and churned those legs to pick up about 3 more yards.
That should be the last play of the first quarter. Or Malakoff might try to rush one more play in with 14 seconds left.
Looks like they're going to let the clock run down and take it into the quarter.
Well, at the end of one quarter here from Black Cat Field, we have the Mexia Blackcats at 0, and we have the Malakoff Tigers at 0. Malakoff has the ball on the Mexia 27-yard line, and that's where we'll start the second quarter. Coming from Black Cat Field, Jeremy Sunday and Wallace High. We're going to take a break and be back in just a few minutes. As we come back to Black Cat Field to start the second quarter, we got Black Cat football being brought to you by Greer Media Time, Freddie Greer, Wallace High, and Jeremy Sunday. The Tigers come up with a 1st and 10 from the Mexia 28-yard line. Snap back to Peace, and he's going to fake to his running back.
He's looking for the screen, but the Cats read it well.
And we have
he throws it out of bounds.
We're going to have a flag here on the field.
Yeah, we'll have ineligible receivers downfield. He was looking for the screen, and when it was covered up, those big guys got down the field, and you can't throw the ball out past the line of scrimmage once they're out there.
So Rail Kennedy, number 2, had his hand on that ball, and looks like he was going to be able to come away with an interception.
It was just a little too high for him, and over on the sideline, he didn't have anywhere else to give to get up and get it.
And our flag here is going to be waved off. Once again, the Black Cat sideline is very upset. When you have an offensive lineman too far downfield, I don't know how you can wave a flag off, but
I'm not sure.
Well, that's going to bring up a 2nd and 10 as the Tigers come to the line of scrimmage. Snap back to Peace, and he's going to fake the handoff. We got another penalty flag down, and Black Cats are there.
Cats got him wrapped up.
Again, that's Terrell Kennedy on the start to play. But we got a hold on the Tigers, Wallace.
Yeah. You know, that flag came flying in. It looks like it was actually maybe on the backside of the play.
It was awful early in the snap.
Looks like the Cats will decline the penalty, which will make it 3rd down and 10 for the Tigers.
With the leg that I just seen on the kicker,
yeah,
I don't think I would have.
I don't know if I would have either. I may have taken that 10 yards and made them run more plays to try to pick up.
So that'll bring up
yardage.
3rd down and 10 for the Tigers at the Mexia 28-yard line. As Malakoff comes to the line, see if this Black Cat defense can't stiff it one more time, Wallace. Snap back to Peace.
It's a boot. He's got a tight end out, and he throws it high.
Oh! We got another penalty on the backside here.
Yeah, and I'm looking, and I see big number 52 standing down about the 20-yard line. So I don't know if they're going to get the lineman downfield on this play.
Ineligible receiver, ineligible downfield again. You're correct, Wallace. I wasn't never no offensive lineman, but I remember in practice they always told us to count to Mississippi 5 before you went down.
Well, yeah, just watching the motion and misdirection Malakoff running to this side, you had them look like they were running the screen, and then the quarterback pulled it and booted out, and I think those linemen didn't realize he wasn't going to throw the screen pass. So
that's going to bring up a 4th and 10. See if the Mexia defense can come up with another big play here. We got trips to the right, one to the top, and Peace in the backfield. Snap back, and he's going to roll to his left. He's going to stop and throw about a 15-yard route.
We have another flag. And number 50-something standing about the 17-yard line. 52 again.
We do have another flag on the Tigers. Ineligible downfield again.
Yeah. Looks like they got the same guy. Number 52 looks like he's drifting a little too far on those plays, and he's down between the 25 and the 20, and they're snapping the ball from about the 28-yard line.
There's no way you defer that one. It's 4th down, so you take that penalty and make them get 15 yards now instead of 10 because they had a completion there for a first down.
They completed it for a first down. You know, and I'm surprised with seeing the leg from their kicker on that last kick. I'm surprised they lined up to run that play and didn't just kick it for a field goal.
As the Tigers come to the line, they got Rose in the backfield with Peace, and they got twins to the right and twins to the left. You got a 4th and 15. This is a big play to start the second quarter here, Wallace.
Oh, and we have another flag.
Was there not a timeout called by delay a game on the Tigers? As the coaches were down here hollering at the referees, that clock started over, and they lost time on it. So
it started it's only 25 seconds once the ref blows that whistle and puts it in motion. And I think the Tigers were expecting 40 seconds because they didn't seem to be in a hurry at all.
Now that brings up 4th and 20 as Peace drops in the backfield by himself, and he's going to do a little pooch punt.
Quick punt, and
let's see if that's going to roll.
Oh, it looks like they down at about the 1 yard line.
And the Tigers have downed this ball at the 1 yard line. That is terrible starting field position for the Blackcats.
Yeah, it is. And number 12 and number 17 for the Tigers did a great job of flying down the field and getting to that ball.
You look out at that Tiger defense right now, and there's 2 or 3 of them holding up the safety sign. The Tigers are going for a safety and 2 points on this Blackcat offense right here.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a few blitzes coming from different directions from the Tigers here, trying to get to the ball carrier before they can get out of the end zone.
Well, I can tell you right now, this ball has got to come out quick, and we can't snap back and hold and just play around back here because we've gone backwards in the last one. We don't have no room to go backwards this time. We have a snap back to Proctor. He's got Wiley to his left. Snap back, he hands to Wiley as he's going to be hit about the 3 or 4 yard line.
He scoots out to about the 5 yard line.
Well, that is the room that Mexia needed off that first play. That'll bring up a 2nd and long 5 because that ball was not very close to the 1 yard line right there. So it's going to be a long 5 or 6 for the Blackcats to pick up a first down here and back in the back of their own end zone. We got a snap back to Proctor. He's going to throw a quick bubble screen out, and there's a drop pass out to the right.
The receiver was down on his knee to catch the ball, so he wouldn't have been able to advance it after the catch, even if he had been able to haul that one in.
It would have been a loss of about 4 yards, and they'd been right back where they were supposed to be, where they started out. You've got to be very cautious down here deep in your own end zone that we don't have a mistake that can turn this game into something you don't want it to be. As the Blackcats come to the line of scrimmage, we got 3rd down and 6. Snap back to Proctor. He's going to move. He's going to take off running. He's
running around in the end zone, which he got to get rid of the ball. Oh, and he finds a receiver.
About the 29-yard line for a first down.
And he scrambled and ran around, and you saw the secondary start to come up to try to play the run, and he just rolled around in the back of the end zone. And when everybody thought he was just going to throw the ball away, he slung it out, and Trey Holman came back and dove for the ball and caught it.
That is what the Blackcats needed to get out from the back of their own end zone. They're lining back up with twins, motion Evan in. Another snap back who was not expecting, but Wiley takes the ball, and he's going to get about 5 yards. Good run for the Cats.
That's a good hard run.
I want to go to some scores real quick as La Vega's leading in the second quarter 7-0. And Milford is 24-6 over Oakwood. March down 14-18 to Franklin. Grosbeck's down 13-7 to Marlin as the Blackcats come back to the line of scrimmage, and we're going to have motion on the Blackcats. That was on number 79 of Blackcats, and he straight pointed at the defense, but he clearly left a little too early.
The defensive man did not cross into the neutral zone, and he seen them shift, and he came out of his stance. That's going to be on the offense every time.
Conley's 0-0 still in the first quarter. Refugio's leading Aranza's pass 14-0. I believe next week Mart will be traveling to Refugio for a big matchup in 2A. As the Blackcats come back to the line of scrimmage, Proctor's all by himself, and they're going to run a misdirection, and there was no – oh, we got a fumble, and he picked it up, and number 50 is going to run the ball in.
They're going to blow the play dead. His forward progress was stopped. And 50 came off the edge, and I don't think anybody touched him. He came right off of the left tackle without being touched, and he just ran straight into the man that took the ball.
The Blackcats got lucky on that call, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and about 16 now. But the Malakoff sideline is really upset. That was a quick whistle there.
Yeah, but, 50 hit him as soon as he got the ball and drove him back about 3 or 4 yards before he lost the ball.
As we come up to line,
the
another
ball's
bad
on the
snap.
Ground. Proctor throws it. It's tipped. Oh, that ball was tipped and looked like Prince Banks had a chance to pick it up off or catch it off of the tip, but it fell to the ground, and it brings up 4th down for the Cats.
We bring the punt team back on the field for the Blackcats. As we still, with 8 minutes and 46 seconds left here in the second quarter, it's Mexia 0 and Malakoff 0, with Mexia fisting to punt the ball back to the Tigers. We have Banks back to punt, and number 21 for Malakoff Tigers, Mosley, will be there to receive the kick.
Banks gets it away, and he kicks it off the side of his foot. And it takes a Mexia roll down to about the Tiger 44-yard line.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll bring you our sponsors as the Tigers get ready to take the offensive side of the ball one more time from Blackcat Field in Mexia, Texas.
By Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
As we come back to Blackcat Field, the Tigers trot on offense, and the Blackcats come back on the defensive side.
With 8:38 left in the second quarter, the score remains 0-0.
Well, we have Peace in the backfield with Davis. Snap back to Peace. He hands off to Davis up the middle, and the Blackcats are there, and he only gets a gain of about
3 yards. About 3-yard gain up the middle.
It looks like the Blackcat defense is starting to stiffen a little more from the first series of the game.
Yeah, I think they're starting to settle down. They're starting to read the misdirection a little better, letting their eyes see what's going on instead of just playing and not being disciplined. Well, not having eye discipline on the field, which is very important when you play teams that run a lot of misdirection like Malakoff's running so far.
Well, the Tigers come up with twins to the top, twins to the left with Davis and Peace in the backfield. Snap back to Feast, and they're going to hand off to Davis right up the middle. Once again, he gets about a 4-yard gain.
And like you said earlier, they're really not getting big chunks of yardage. They're just getting those 3 or 4-yard runs and moving the chains. So if the Cats can bow up and hold them, you know, it'll give them a chance to get the ball back here with, you know, pretty decent field position. But it brings up about 3rd and 2.
We got 7.5 minutes left in the second quarter. The Cats shift on the line, and it looks like they're stunting.
Oh, and the quarterback kept it, and the Cats snuffed it out.
And
that's Dawson Scott came off the edge immediately and hitting the quarterback as soon as he pulled it out of the running back's stomach.
You could tell when the Cats shifted that they were going to shoot the gaps.
Yeah.
Well, once again, that's going to bring up a 4th and about 4 for the Tigers. Last time in this situation, they had a pooch punt.
Right, they're keeping their offense out there. They're motioning number 1 into the inside receiver, 17's coming to the outside, but we still have 3 in the backfield and 10 in the backfield. We'll see if they're going to try to go for it.
That's Rose in the backfield with Peace. I think Mejia's going to take a timeout. No, Malakoff.
They're going to think about it again.
Well, as they take a timeout, we're going to go to break, and we'll be back to Blackcat Field, Wallace High and Jeremy Sunday.
Blackcat Football and Greer Time Media. Let's take it to the booth with your host, Freddie Greer Sr.
As we come back to Blackcat Field, the timeout, the Tigers have changed their mind. They lined up in a punt position.
And we have a flag. Looks like that up back that went in motion got to going forward before the ball was snapped, and that'll be an illegal procedure on the Tigers.
For some reason, Sandoval is still upset over there on the sideline. He got upset earlier on a motion call where the Blackcats ended up being in motion where they were offsides, and he has been in that official's ear since then.
Yeah, he has. You know, it has to be something because the Blackcats got the call then, and he's still in their ear. But Malakoff lines up in the traditional punt. They snap it back. The punter gets it away and headed towards the sideline. The Cats will let it bounce and go out of bounds around the 20-yard line.
Looks like Malakoff has been watching some film because they're not wanting to kick the ball to Holdman.
No. You know, and we said it quite a bit last week. When you have some weapons back there returning those kicks, smart coaching and smart kickers are going to kick away from it and not give them too many chances to get their hands on the ball.
Well, the Mejia's going to have a whole lot better starting field position this drive than we had on last drive.
Yeah, we're going to hope that we can get something going. We really haven't had much going on offense. Our defense has been holding fairly well, but we want to get the ball moving and at least get down onto the Tiger side of the field.
Well, we come out in a different lineup. This time Proctor's under center. He's going to hand off to Wiley, and he's going to break up the middle for about 2 yards there. That's the first time tonight that Proctor's been under center.
Yeah, and you know what? Looking out at the field, we talked about how big Malakoff is, and we talk about big Jacob Kyle that we have on Mejia's team, and he's a very large young man. But I'm looking across, and number 51 from Malakoff stands there, and he may actually be a little bit bigger than Mr. Kyle, and Malakoff's big up front, so it's not easy sledding for us to get that ball through the middle on those runs.
There won't be many 3A teams that's going to have the size that Malakoff has. Proctor takes the snap under center again, hands off to Wiley. He's going to break out the right side, and he's broken some tackles.
And
he's fumbled the ball. And it's still scramble, and it looks like Malakoff's going to come away with the ball. So the first big turnover of the game is going to go Malakoff's way.
And, you know, Jarrell Wiley was running, and he was running hard and trying to fight for that yardage to get that first down. And it looks like someone was able to just rake the ball out of there.
That's what so many coaches tell their running backs. Quit fighting for that hard yardage. Go down and let's play for the next play. Because a lot of fumbles happen when you're just trying to get an extra 1 or 2 yards, and you got a bunch of them coming and somebody just rips it out.
Right. Now we're going to depend on the Mejia defense to step up again and keep the Tigers out of the end zone.
As the Tigers once again start out with good field position on the Mejia 32-yard line. We have Peace in the backfield with Rose once again. Rose goes in motion. Snap back to Peace is dead drop back, and he's going to be tackled by the Blackcats in the backfield.
And that's a great job by number 25 for the Cats.
And Dawson Scott was right there with him.
You know, Scott's been active this first half and getting back to the quarterback. We want to give props to the Mejia secondary as well, because the quarterback dropped back looking to throw the ball, and there was just nowhere to throw it. The secondary held up very well and was running right with the receivers.
The one thing I have noticed with Malakoff is when Davis is in there, they do a lot of misdirection with Davis on handoffs. And when Rose is in there, Wallace, he does a lot of motion. As I say that, now they're just going to hand off to Tim. But Peace keeps it, and he's around the right side.
He's brought down. Good tackle by number 11, Jalen Busby. And number 2, Tyrell Kennedy.
They got the ball down to about the 29.5-yard line, which will bring up a 3rd and about 8 for the Tigers here.
You know, and what you were saying about the 2 backs, you see it because Davis looks like the bigger, more bruising back, and then you see the other running back comes in, and he's a little more shiftier. They're throwing it out to him on some screens and running him out of the backfield.
We come out with a new set here.
They have a tight bunch off to the right side.
We're going to run that way. It's going to be a quarterback keeper that way, and he's going to be taken down. He's fighting for it, but it's still going to bring up a 4th down on the 25-yard line as we have a flag come out.
And we're going to get a personal foul on the Blackcats.
That is what you can't have when you finally get a stop. Let's see, as the officials talk it out here, we'll see who the flag was on. And as you said, Wallace, you could see a little better than I could. You said it was on the Blackcats.
Yeah, it looked like Tyrell Kennedy took a shot there at the end of that play, and he got up. And, you know, we always say the second man's always the one that gets caught. And it looks like that's what happened after he took – it looks like he took a little shot from someone that was over on the sideline. I'm not sure if it was a player that rumbled over to the sideline or someone standing over there, and he got up and pushed someone, and that's where the flag came out.
The coaches do not like that at all. That is the type of plays that the coaches really harp on this year in the parents' meeting, is we did not want the after the play sportsmanlike contact because we lose our head.
Yeah. And that just moved the Tigers down further in.
We're going to hand off to number 2, and he's going to be a little shifty. But a gang of Blackcats take him down around the 10-yard line, which that'll bring him up 2nd and 6 after a gain of about 4. The Tigers are trying to punch it in right now.
You hate to see that personal foul because it would have brought up a 3rd down.
It would have been 4th down on that.
Yeah, 4th down and about 3 or 4 yards.
It's a Blackcat shift again. You got two running backs in the back. That'd be Rose and number 2, Hart, with Peace in the backfield. The Blackcats spread back out on the defensive line, a snap back to Peace, and he fakes to Rose.
To throw.
And it's going to be a pop-up in the air. Let's see if the Blackcats can't get under
incomplete.
it. Those passes are so scary because they pop up in the air. Anybody's able to run under them.
You know, and it looks like Jalen Busby did a great job of trailing that receiver and then diving out and making a play on the ball as they both went down to the ground in the end zone.
It's going to bring up a 3rd and 8 for the Tigers as they can get a 1st down before they can get in the end zone here. They're going to come out with twins to the top and twins to the bottom with Peace and Rose in the backfield with him. See if the Blackcats can't stand strong. Snap back to Peace. He's getting ready to throw.
He's looking.
It's open. He's going to be tackled right.
He gets out of it and he dumps it and throws it into the ground. So, you know, he had 2 receivers over here in the corner and there was only 1 defender. But I think he felt the pressure of the Cats getting to him, and he just kind of short-armed that ball, and it fell short of the receiver.
That was Jacob Allen that was putting the pressure on him at the 10-yard line. Another problem the Tigers had there is when you run your wide receivers out, when the wide receivers come close together, it allows one man to guard them, and that's exactly what happened there. If they would have been spread out, one man would have been open.
Yeah, but they got real close. They were probably within about 3 yards of each other, and there was a cat just standing in the middle.
As the Tigers set up for a field goal, snap back, and he just hammers this football.
And that one's good.
And for the first score of the night, the Tigers go on the board with a field goal, and that'll take the lead 3-0 with 3 minutes and 10 seconds left in the first half. We've played a long time to put some points on the board.
Yeah, you know, and we'll come out after this. We switch fields, and we get the kickoff, and the Cats will get a chance to try to go down and put some points on the board before the half themselves.
Two big plays right there is what can win you or lose your football games. The first play is the turnover.
Right.
Anytime a team gets points off turnovers, that's a big advantage for them. But when you get a stop and you're on 4th down and you have a player lose their head and get a personal foul, that just absolutely kills your momentum that you had just got from stopping them on 3rd down.
Right. You would have had a 4th down from about the 26 or 27-yard line. And if they did kick a field goal, it would have been much tougher than the one that they just got.
Well, they have changed their kick return here for the Blackcats. As 23, Romero will be kicking for the Tigers, but now we have –
looks like Lamarian Miller and –
is that number 22, Trey Jones, back deep?
Yeah, looks like Trey Jones. It'll be fair caught by Ervin Harrison at about the 34-yard line.
I've never understood that, Wallace.
No.
And our coaches taught us to do that, but when they kick to the up back, if he catches it, he can still get another 10 yards, and I don't care what offensive coordinator, what level, they would love to have another 10 yards to work with.
Right. Even if just looking at that play, if he catches that ball and just runs straight, he probably doesn't get touched for about 5 or 6 yards. And you much rather start outside of your 40 rather than inside your 35.
As we come back, Proctor's going to be under center once again. Stat back to Wiley. He's going to be up the middle. Couple of good bursts, couple of spins, and he's going to get a gain of
6 yards.
As the Blackcats drive starts with positive 6-yard gain, that's what we need to go down on this last series of the first half, it looks like, with the time that we have, and punch one in to have momentum at halftime, Wallace.
And it seems like we've seen a few times now where Proctor's went under center, and it seems like we're getting a good burst when he goes under center and he goes back and hands it off.
Snap back with Holdman on the slant, and he hands it to Holdman as he comes around the left end, and he is hit very hard at the 45-yard line.
He picks up 5-6 yards, and that's enough for a first down for the Blackcats.
That was a big collision right there, and it looked like that was number 52 that was hitting Trey at the 45-yard line as 52 got up limping a little bit, but, man, that was a heck of a hit. As the Blackcats come back to the line, looks like Proctor's going to go back up under center with Wiley behind him. And we have a snap back. It's going to be a fake pitch. As Proctor eludes him, and he's in the open field, and that is where Proctor is dangerous, and he's going to pick up about 8. He looked like he was going to be tackled for about a 7 or 8 yard loss.
Yeah, that was big number 51, and just watching, he stretched out and he got a hand on Jaden, but Jaden was able to pull away from him and then cut up field. And when it looked like he had defender had him in the rights, he picked up a big block.
Snap back to Proctor. He's going to hand off to Wiley up the middle, and he's got about an 8 yard gain there for another Blackcat first down.
And right there, if Wiley picks that foot up and doesn't get grabbed on the shoestring, he may have broken that one and taken it to the house.
We're back in the shotgun with Proctor with Wiley beside him. Snap back to Wiley. We got a whistle here. Another flag thrown. Looks like it's going to be a legal procedure on the Blackcats. That's what we didn't need as we had the momentum going.
You don't want those penalties. You went up tempo, and it was a smart decision by the Blackcat coaches to start going up tempo with several of the Tigers playing both ways up on that front line. You know, you get up tempo, it doesn't give a chance for the defense to rotate men in and out, and you get a momentum going. You don't want those penalties to break that.
No. Well, as the Blackcats come back to the line, we got Twins up to the top and Twins down the bottom with Wiley and Proctor in the backfield in the shotgun. Snap back. He's going to fake to – we got Prince Banks wide. Oh! That would have been a heck of a catch.
Yeah, he had it in his hands, and then the defender was able to jar it loose when he hit him.
He looked wide open. Number 5 was the cornerback that come in to make the hit. Iverson Sparks for the Tigers, but it looked like the Blackcats had about an 18-yard or 13-yard gain on that. Banks looked all by himself there for a second, but the ball was knocked out. Now it brings up a 2nd and 15 with Wiley and Proctor in the shotgun. Snap back. He's going to drop, and he's going to move around, and it looks like we're going to have some more flags in the backfield.
Yes.
That's the one thing that has killed the Blackcats this year is when they get in quicksand, they don't know how to get out. It keeps sinking, and we were moving the ball and had 1 penalty, and now we've got a 2nd penalty.
You go from having 1st and 10 at your 40-yard line to now we're going to be backed up to about midfield.
Now, this is a 15-yard penalty right here. They're going to call a chop block on the Blackcats. And what they're calling there is going to be an offensive lineman was engaged with someone and a running back come in and hit them low or vice versa, and that's going to be a 15-yard penalty, and all the momentum Mexia had has now got them back to their own 40-yard line.
Yeah, we went from being at the Tiger 40 to now back at the Mexia 40, and we're going to have 2nd and 30.
Well, what's key here is you got 3 plays to get 30 yards.
Right. You don't have to get it all on one play, but you want to get some positive yards here on these next couple plays and try to give yourself a shot to get some points on the board.
We have 1:07 left here in the first half. Proctor's up underneath center, and he's going to hand off to Wiley. He's going to go up the middle, and he breaks one, and he gets about 10 yards back right there is what we talked about.
Yeah, look, that was a good burst, you know. I said, it seems like every time we've been under center, we've been able to get a good burst, and that's
as Mexia has a terrible snap back.
There it looks like the quarterback, the center, and everyone else weren't on the same page on that play.
Why are we not calling timeout?
And the ball,
it's 4th down, so we want to let the time run out now.
The ball rolled back to the quarterback, and he wasn't able to pick it up, and it bobbled and fell forward.
As we got 25 seconds left here in the first half, that was Mexia's most promising drive of the first half.
Looks like the Cats are going to let the clock run down with it being 4th down. But going into half, there's only a difference of about 2 or 3 seconds on the clocks. I'm not sure why the Cats wouldn't let it run down and then take a chance at a big play towards the end zone.
Well, you know, what I've seen in football here lately is it's a copycat. Well, if somebody else would have done that, but you're right. 2 seconds left. You could have thrown a screenplay. You could have thrown a long pass. and gave yourself a chance to score instead of just punting and running the clock out. But as we end this first half, it's going to be 3-0 Malakoff over the Mexia Blackcats at Mexia Blackcat Field. Game's being brought to you by Greer Media Time, Jeremy Sunday, and Wallace High on the call with Freddie Greer running the music.
To Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Part, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
Brought to you by Eagle Auto Parts, located on Main Street. For more information, visit eagleauto.com. Today's game. listening to Black Cat Football and Greer Time Media. Let's take it to the booth.
As we come back to Black Cat Field here, we have the Malakoff band finishing up on the field. We want to give you some halftime stats, and we're going to give you some scores from around the area. The Cats tonight have 3 first downs. We have 4 penalties for 30 yards, 3 punts for 109. Wiley has 8 rushes for 39. Proctor has 4 for -12. And Harrison has 1 for 5. We have 12 rushes for a total of 32 yards. This has been a defensive game, as you can tell by the score being 3-0. The Tigers, theirs is not much better, but they got a little bit better stats. They did have 6 first downs, 5 penalties for 30 yards, 3 punts for 95. They had 4 completions on 11 attempts for 27, and their rushing yards are Rose 1 for 4, Peace 2 for 9, Davis 5 for 28. And we have number 3 here for them, which is Hart. Peace has 6 for -1, and Hart has 2 yards at halftime here for a total of 41 yards. So they have a total of 68 yards themselves, and Mexia only had 32. So as you can tell, it's been a defensive struggle here at Black Cat Field tonight, as both teams are really standing tough. At Black Cat Field, we got the Black Cat band out, and as I pull up the scores from the area teams, get up here and get refreshed and give you halftime scores from around the area. Stephenville's up on Wiley 21-0. Avalon leads Union Hill 24-14. Granger is up 41-0 on Meridian. The Vegas tied at 7 at halftime with LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson High School out of Austin. Salato's up 36-0 on Travis. Wortham's up 8-0 at halftime. Abbott's leading Penelope 14-6. Milford, number 1 Milford against number 4 Oakwood, is 46-18 in the second quarter. Hubbard's leading Crossroads 28-0. Dawson's leading Valley Mills 20-13 at halftime. Itasca's leading Frost 22-12 at halftime. With 9 seconds left in the second quarter, Franklin was up on Mart 20-16. Close one there, as Mart's coming off their first loss in a lot of ball games, and they're playing at 318 Franklin really tough tonight. Because Mexia and Franklin scrimmaged, and Franklin looked really good when they were up here scrimmaging Mexia. So kudos to Mart for playing tough there. Hopefully they'll come out with the win. Graham's leading Brownwood 14-7. Cameron Yo is leading Gatesville 47-13 at halftime. Whitney's leading Hillsboro 21-14. West is up on Godley 14-12 at halftime. Grandview is blowing Venus out in the second quarter 42-0. Marlin in the second quarter with 3 minutes left is leading Grosback 19-14. Lampasas is over Lorena at halftime 20-7. Robinson, which has been a pleasant surprise this year, is tied at 21 with Troy in the second quarter. Conley and China Springs playing a tight one, 7-7 going into halftime. Fairfield's leading Athens 17-12. Crockett's leading Grapeland 20-8. Grapeland is number 2 in state, and Crockett is leading them 20-8 at halftime. Palestine's over Russ 6-0. Caldwell's leading Madisonville 6-0. Refrigiero's up big on Aransas Pass 34-7. As I said, the score here at Blackcat Field is 3-0 Malakoff. Clifton leads Maypearl 13-0. And Rogers is ahead of McGregor 29-7. Those are your area scores brought to you at halftime. As we go on for a little bit more, we got 15 minutes left in halftime. We've brought you some scores. We've brought you the stats. We're going to bring you a little bit more music until we get ready for the Blackcats and Malakoff to take the field for the second half of the game here at Blackcat Field in Mexia, Texas. as we come back to Blackcat Field, they're getting the tunnels brought back up. We got 10 minutes and 56 seconds here before we start the second half. But Wallace, let's do a little talking about the first half. If you're a person that likes offense, this was not the game to be at.
No, it's been a defensive battle between the two teams, and just the way that the looks like the offensive game plans are going, it might be that way unless there's some changes at halftime. It might be that way throughout the game, and it's going to come to whichever offense can make a big play to get in the end zone may end up taking this game.
That's one thing that we did not see in the first half that we were accustomed to watching the first two games with the Blackcats was long plays from the Blackcats. And tonight Malakoff has pretty much snuffed out everything Mejia's trying to do and keep them bottled up and behind the chains.
Yeah, and just watching, every so often it looks like Mexia has a chance to pop one, and Malakoff seems to have someone right there in the right position at the right time, and they're able to get a hand on a shoestring or grab a jersey just enough to pull someone down or hold them up until someone else can get there. And it doesn't look like Mexia is far from breaking a big one, at any time. And the same goes for Malakoff. It looks they're shifty out in space and big coming from behind the center, and looks like if either team can get a little crease or a little space, they might be able to take one the distance. But in that first half, nobody was able to do that because both defenses were flying around to the ball and rallying and making tackles.
Yes, and both teams look to have plenty of speed on both sides of the ball.
Right.
Looks like where one's fisting to break a big play, next thing you know, there's two or three defenders right there to keep that big play from happening.
Yeah, and it looks like Mexia, with their athletes, they're able to get out there and to play with the size of Malakoff. But because like we were talking about at the beginning of the game, Malakoff's a very big team up front. They have some very large young men, and they do a good job in the trenches. But Mejia's holding their own, and they're grinding and getting down and pushing through and making tackles out and keeping Malakoff from really getting anything started as well.
The one good thing you want to see as a Blackcat fan is these Blackcats are playing tough preseason foes that's going to get them ready to play their district games, because there's been some surprises in their district so far. Robinson was picked down there near the bottom, and now they're in the top 10.
Right.
Lorena was picked up there at the top, and they've dropped out of the top 10. So we've got a lot of good teams in this area, and it's going to be a tough district to move to the playoffs in. But games like this is what gets you ready to take that next step to play playoff games after district.
Right, and just looking at our district, we have 3 teams in our district right now that are all in the top 20, in the state. And then you have Fairfield, who's sitting at 2-0 going into tonight's game.
Winning again.
And, the Cats, along with Salado and Madisonville, who's holding their own and doing very well this season. So we're going to go into a tough district schedule. And, many people might say that, right now Mexia is a 4A team, and we've played a few 3A teams. But when you're looking at it, we played the number 3 team in the state in 3A and now the number 2 team in the state in 3A. And so they're no pushovers by any means. So I think the Cats are getting really good tests and really getting a look at some tough teams to prepare them for that grind that we're going to have to face when we get into the district play.
Yes, sir. As Mexia comes back out on the field, we have 7 minutes left before we start the second half. Mejia's out warming up, and as you look over to our left, Malakoff is coming out of their locker room, headed across the baseball field. Looks like in this game, from what I can tell, with the way both teams played the first half and the offense and defense was going, this is going to come down to which team's going to be in better shape at the end of the game.
Right. One thing that we saw from Mexia there at the end of the first half is they started going to that little hurry-up offense and moving it fast. And, they, without having penalties to kill them in there, they started moving the ball and kind of really wearing on Malakoff. And like we talked about to start the game, Malakoff doesn't have the numbers as far as the amount of players they have on their sidelines. So some of those guys are on the field quite a bit, offensively, defensively, and on special teams. So if Mexia is able to keep that up and keep running and running them, they can kind of wear down on the Tigers and hopefully get a big play. But the same thing with Mexia. Mejia's going to have to find a way to hold it in there and stay aggressive and keep playing.
Yes. The one thing that Mexia is going to have to do is quit shooting themselves in the foot. Every time they get a good play, they turn around and end up with a penalty or run out of bounds 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and we end up at 2nd and 20. And that's one thing against good teams. I don't care if it's Malakoff moving forward or it's Lorena, Conley. We cannot get behind the chains the way we have tonight in the first half.
Right. And you read the stats off a little bit ago, and we haven't been able to pick up much yardage in the first half, but a lot of that is due to the fact that when we seem to be getting some momentum, we're getting pushed back with penalties. Those flags start coming out, and those positive yards we get are overshadowed by the negative yards from those penalties. So we're going to have to clean that up going on here in the second half.
Yep, so as we look over here to our left, we have Malakoff entering the football field, getting ready to come onto the field and come through their tunnel.
And with about 4.5 minutes left in halftime, we'll take a quick break and get ready to come back to you as the second half begins to start.
As we come back to Blackcat Field, Greer Media Time bringing you the Blackcats against the Malakoff. With the call is going to be Wallace High and Jeremy Sunday, and we thank you all for listening to us tonight. We've had a real interesting game to start the first half. It was a defensive struggle the whole first half. But Mejia's taking the field, and Malakoff's getting ready to take the field. Wallace, what would you think if you're a head coach of either team? What would you tell your team at halftime?
If I'm the Blackcats, I'm going to tell my team we have to keep coming out and we have to stay aggressive. Defensively, my head defense has done as much as you can ask them to do in that first half. They've come out on the field and held Malakoff several times when Malakoff has started with a short field. Offensively, I got to tell my bigs up front that we're going to have to hunker down and we're going to have to do better up front. We got to hold the defense off of a quarterback, and we got to open up some holes for our runners to get through. And then just tell our skill guys to stay consistent and play hard and play fast. If I'm Malakoff, I'm telling my guys the same exact things. They've come out and played a good game defensively so far, but they're about the same position as Mexia on offense. Right now the difference is just a field goal. And so whichever team, both teams have to be thinking they have to do more on offense.
And that field goal was attained because of a turnover and a a turnover that was a terrible play after the play. We had stopped them and had them down to 4th down and 4 at about the 30-yard line. And after the play, we had a Black Cat have an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that moved them up 15 yards. And, of course, they didn't go very few yards after that, but that got them close enough for the field goal.
Right, and that's going to be a key for the Black Cats, is to be able to maintain their composure, play smart, be disciplined, and not pick up those personal fouls and those after the whistle plays. You know, you don't want to negate a great play or a great stand on defense by giving them a first down and yardage because you've done something after the play.
Yes, that's what gives coaches headaches and nights of not sleeping after games, especially in close games like this, is when they have a player lose their head and get what you call a mental penalty, and as a coach would say, a stupid penalty. When we finally had gotten a big stop, we had them down. Son, we got to keep our head, and we've got to get off the field. Let them do the talking, and you do the walking.
Right. You know, we're old school, and a lot of times we heard our coaches say, you let your helmet and your pads do the talking. All that after the play stuff doesn't mean anything. And so these young men are going to have to learn that as well.
As we come back to Black Cat Field, we got 12 minutes to start the third quarter. We got Martinez ready to kick off, and the start of the second half is moments away. As Martinez approaches the ball, he kicks it up in the air deep. They're going to field it about the 20-yard line. And there's a host of Black Cats right there in the middle to meet him about the 35. And see, just right there, that jumping on top of the pile, that could cost us.
Right. You got to be smart in those situations. You know, you want to go in and try to help and finish a play, but you have to be aware of those whistles and the progress. You know, you don't want to jump in there too late and end up getting a penalty that's going to hurt your team.
From talking to a few people, I just moved back this past February. Been a long-time Black Cat fan, played ball here, grew up here. And that was one thing that some of the elder statesmen Black Cat fans talked to me about was the personal foul penalties have killed the Black Cats the last 2 years.
Yeah, and I will say that this year it's looked a lot better. So we want to make sure we keep that going. And
as Peace takes a snap, that was big. Arick that met him about 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
A great play by A.K. Metlock. He swim moved the guard and the center on that play.
I don't remember seeing
between that double team.
I don't remember seeing him on the whole first half, Wallace. He wasn't in there.
I saw him early, but then I don't think we called his name much after the first couple plays of the game.
And here we go. That's Scott in the backfield. We got a little 5-yard stop and a gain of about
7 or 8 on that play.
And that'll bring up a 3rd and short for the Tigers.
And that was a pass to number 17 for the Tigers.
That's one thing that I have noticed on some of the Black Cat on the inside receivers. We're giving them a lot of space.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed is we're going inside that outside lineman instead of staying outside. So it's giving the quarterback a clean line to throw to that little intermediate receiver. Maybe if we can contain and keep him inside, you get a little more
we have Peace and Davis in the backfield, shotgun. Snap back to Peace, and he's going to hand it to Davis up the middle, and he's going to fight for the first down. Pickup of about 4, and that's going to give the Tigers another first down. That's pretty much a replay of the first half. A little bit of yardage here, a little bit there, and just enough to get a first down and move the chains.
Yep, they're just chunking away at the yardage. They haven't gotten any real big plays today, but it's just been enough to move the chains.
Well, we got a breeze picking up here at Black Cat Field. It's much needed.
Yeah, it's a very steamy, like we said, still warm night. So this breeze.
We're going to have a handoff to Davis. It looks like he's going to be tackled.
He's
going to. We're going to have a flag.
Yeah, we'll
on the
have
field.
a flag because number 35 for the Cats got into the backfield and had Davis, and then he was tackled away from the ball carrier by a lineman.
And 52 was who did it, and he just threw his hands up like, what I do?
Yeah, when you see a defender line up a ball carrier and they hit him square, and then all of a sudden they go flying back away from the runner, it's not because the runner ran over him, but because that lineman that the defender beat grabbed him and yanked him back.
As we have some Black Cat substitutions come in, we're going to have a 1st and 20 for the Tigers now from their own 37-yard line. We're going to have a snap back to Peace. He's going to roll out to his right.
Rolling.
And we're going to have
That's
an incomplete pass. That was intended for number 12, and the ball skipped and hit the ground.
You know, even if that ball doesn't skip, I don't think he would have gotten credit for that play because when he planted to come back to the ball, his right foot went out of bounds.
Yeah, it's not too easy to see that black on that white down there.
Right. And with a line judge standing right about 3 yards from you, I don't think you get away with that one.
Yeah, well, Malakoff comes out. They have trips to the top, and we have one down here to the bottom with Peace and Davis in the backfield. Snap back to Peace. He's going to drop straight back, and it's going to be a little screen across the middle. And he is hammered at the 37-yard line.
And that's Lamaria Miller came up from his safety spot and just demolished the receiver.
That is one of those hits that excites you and gets the momentum back on your side. It looked like there might be a big play progress there, and Lamaria Miller shut the door and said, no, sir.
Yeah, you know, we were watching it, and up here we could see the linemen start to leak out, and the D-line started rumbling towards the quarterback, and as he faded and threw it, it looked like they were setting up for a big play, and Lamaria Miller came streaming downhill.
Well, as we come back to play, we got trips down here to the bottom now. The Blackcats at 3rd and 25. Snap back to Peace, and he's just going to try to run it up the middle, and we got a penalty. And he breaks down Lamaria Miller tackles, but we do have a penalty here on the flag.
It's at the line of scrimmage in the area of probably a hold or –
it looks like maybe a legal procedure.
Legal procedure, yeah. It came from the line judge.
And what that means is we may not have had enough people on the line of scrimmage is what, when it comes out like that, he might not have had a man on the line of scrimmage that he should have. Or a wide receiver was covering up a tight end and he went out.
Oh, we have a sideline interference on Malakoff. And then that'll be 10 yards from the end of the run, which he was stopped short of the first down, and they'll mark 10 yards back from there.
We
bring up fourth down and about 16.
That's what Mexia needed here, being down 3-0 with 9 minutes left. They needed a big stop coming out of the second half, and that's what we got. They started the ball on about the 38, and they're going to be punting from the 35.
Oh, actually, that was a 15-yard penalty.
Yes, because it's unsportsmanlike.
Right. Brings up about 4th and 24.
Running kick.
Punt is off.
And this time they kicked it.
Oh, and it checks up before it gets to Holman.
As the Blackcats all run away from it. And after that punt, the Blackcats will have good opening field position for the second half. They will start offense on the 32-yard line. That is exactly what the Blackcats needed coming out of the first half.
Yeah, and like I said, the defenses have been playing well, so when your defense is playing that way, you want them to keep playing that way, but as an offense, you got to look to give them some help. And we're going to hope right here that the Blackcats can get something going and we can get the ball moved down the field and hopefully put some points on the board on this drive.
As we start, we're going to have twins to the bottom.
Single receiver up top, single back in the backfield.
And we got motion by Holdman. Snap back to Proctor. He's going to hand it to Wiley as he breaks up the middle. And there's not much tread in there. Number 54 for the Malakoff Tigers met him in the middle of the hole, and I'm sorry, I don't care. There's not too many running backs that's going to run through that wall.
No, 54 is a very stout young man, and he's solid and he moves around very well for a guy his size.
As the Blackcats come back to the line, same set. They have Wiley in the backfield. They're going to hand off. No, Proctor keeps it up the middle. He's going to run around the outside with all his speed. Does he make the corner? He's going to get about 3 yards on that. He's so shifty, they really can't get to him. But the problem with all that shiftiness is you're not going anywhere.
Right. I mean, he's running, and then he's bending backwards to get around defenders and going up, and he runs a long way for those 3 yards. You know, and with a guy that's shifty, at any time he can break one loose. But Malakoff looks like they're up to the task, and they're pretty fast on that defense. And if you allow them to string you outside to side, you're not going to get too far.
What we're going to have to do somehow is take the top off the defense here.
Right. And we haven't taken a shot down the field.
Snap back to Proctor as he hands off to Wiley. He's breaking up the middle, and he's going to have he fumbles the ball again, but Banks is there to recover him this time.
Looks like Prince Banks recovered it. And, you know, Wiley's running hard. And it's not – I won't say that he's being careless with the football, but he's putting his head down and he's giving as much blow to the defense as they are to him. And sometimes the helmets end up hitting the ball just perfect and it's knocking it out.
Well, there's never just one tackler around him. It's always 3 or 4. And we have another bad snap by the Blackcats. And we have flags on the field. Looks like we're going to have an illegal motion.
It looks like an illegal snap on the Blackcats.
That is one thing that killed us in the first half. We get to moving the ball,
and then we
have a bad snap or we have a penalty.
Yep. And, you know, like you were talking about earlier, somebody's going to have to take the top off of the defense because right now both defenses are playing within about 5 to 7 yards of the line of scrimmage, and that's where all the actions taking place.
Well,
so
I can tell you by looking at this alignment, Prince Banks has it wide open down here to the bottom. As we have a lateral to the back to high to Wiley, and he's going to pick up about 6. But down here to the bottom, Banks has one-on-one.
Right.
And there's no way that cornerback, as short as he is, can cover Banks.
And I don't think we've looked at throwing the ball down the field this game. You know, we've let Wiley run, and he's starting to move the ball and make plays, but we got to keep ourselves ahead of the chains and not get behind with the penalties.
As we come out, we're going to have trips down here to the left. Wiley in the backfield with Proctor. Snap back. No, that's Trey Jones, and he's going to be up the middle. He's going to gain about 2 yards.
And, you know, I'll say we're getting runs, but with the size of this Malakoff defense, when we run into those defensive linemen and they get their arms around us, there's not many yards after that.
No, they are some big boys. So the Blackcats are coming back to the line of scrimmage. Somehow we have got to get Banks wide open down here on the bottom. This cornerback looks to have he's 3 or 4 inches shorter than Banks, and he's playing off of him, so it's there. Christian Clark catches it right at the marker. Let's see where they're going to mark him out at.
Oh, it doesn't look like they gave him.
They did not give him a good spot at all. That's right here in front of us.
No, he caught the ball about a yard short of the sticks, and they marked him about 3 yards short of the sticks. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like they gave him the forward progress spot much more than they gave him the spot where the defender drove him back.
I'm still befuddled why we're not using Banks down here. They're playing 20 yards off of him. He would have had the first down easy, but we never looked this way. We threw it to the top.
Now it looks like we're setting up to punt.
Banks is back to punt. There's nobody deep for the Tigers as they're worried about a fake.
Oh, and it's a low-line driver that looks like it's going to
go
get
into
the end zone.
So the Blackcats stall out on the Tiger 42-yard line, and they're going to bring their defense back out, and the Tigers will start from their own 20-yard line. We have 5 minutes and 3 seconds left in the third quarter with Malakoff leading 3-0. Wallace, I know I'm not a head coach, but the way this game has been going, I think I might have gave myself a chance with 2 yards right there. Right.
You know, they weren't far from it, and you've seen Wiley rip off 5 to 7 yards each run here the last couple plays. I think I'm like you. I load up and let Wiley take a chance or let Proctor get behind those blockers and try to get us 2 yards.
See if this defense can stiffen again for the Blackcats. If we have motion with Peace as a quarterback. He's fakes back. He's going to throw the ball down the field. He's got a wide receiver breaking wide open. Number 1 catches it, and he is off to the races. Do we have anybody that's going to catch him? And he's going to be tackled at the 3-yard line by Lamarian Miller, and that's the big play that the Blackcats have given up the first 3 games. This is being the 3rd game. That's what's killed them backbreakers is big plays like that.
And I think Malakoff saw something in our defensive alignment. They motioned a receiver over to give him a trip set on the right, and our safeties aren't rolling out to that middle receiver. And all they did there is just ran some crossing routes and ran that middle receiver on a just straight seam route.
Yep.
And he broke right between everybody on the defense.
Mejia's going to tackle him at the line of scrimmage. Looked like they had him in the backfield, and just being a strong runner that Rose has been, he was able to break through that arm tackle and
gets down to about the 1.5.
So now we got 2nd and goal for the Tigers, and we have Peace and Rose in the backfield. Black Cat defense shifts. They snap up the middle, and Peace just runs it in himself and keeps it for a touchdown. It's going to make it 9-0 with the extra point pending for the Tigers over the Black Cats.
You know, and we talked about it just a second ago. In a game like this, you have to have somebody that's going to take a chance to get the ball down the field. And right there, the Tigers took a chance and threw that deep seam route, and it paid big for them as number 1 was able to catch it and take it about 77 yards until he was pulled down by Miller. The kick is up, and it's good.
Football games are won on plays, big plays, and momentum plays. And I'm gonna go back to that 4th and 2 when you're in their end of the field. You've got to let your boys know you believe in them.
Right.
So line up and spread them out and let Wiley go get you the first down to pump your team up to let them go score instead of just because we were on the 42. All we gave up was 20 yards. We gave up 20 yards in net alt yards. So why not in a preseason game say, boys, I believe in you. We're going to go do this and go get 2 yards.
When you're moving the ball as well as they were on that drive, you have to show faith in your kids and let them know, hey, you know, if we get in this situation, the coaches and everybody else believe that we can go get those 2 yards. And you know what? Like you said, if you don't get it, after a punt into the end zone, you only gave up 20 yards in field position. So, you know, every now and then, that's the difference between taking risk and not taking a risk. You sometimes get a big reward, sometimes you don't.
So the difference in that play right there is if Mexia would have went for it and got it on first down, they still had the ball and they're still driving, or they would have got it at the 40-yard line, so it would have been a 60-yard
drive instead of
pass instead of an 80. So, I mean, that just goes back to, well, the other coaches would have done it that way. I think sometimes Lamarian Miller is returning this kick, and he's going to be up to about the 35-yard line.
He's still pushing forward to about the 30.
And they're saying the ball come out. Let's run in here. Let's see what's going on. It's a scramble for the ball, and all he was doing was fighting for more yardage again, as we talked about earlier.
Right. I don't know if the ball came out more so as they took it from him down at the bottom of the pile.
And they're saying Mexia ball.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm a believer in giving your offense a chance to prove themselves. And so now we come back out on the field and we're down 10-0 with 3 minutes and 54 seconds left. And Mejia's got to answer on this drive.
Right. You know, I know we haven't seen it much. We saw it in the last game. Lamarian Miller is probably one of the fastest people on the field. We saw him last game run past the secondary and score a touchdown. Like you said, we haven't seen Prince Banks used much tonight. We're going to have to get the ball in the air and down the field to some of our big weapons.
I see they drop off right here on our wide receivers, and we're going to hand it off to Wiley as he goes up the middle fighting hard. There's one thing we can't say about Wiley is he does not run hard. He runs very hard.
Yeah, he runs hard every time he touches the ball.
But like you said, we're spread out in a spread offense, and right at the snap of the ball, both safeties are running up to the line of scrimmage.
Right.
And we have 9 men in the box, and we're trying to run the ball 6 men against 9 right there. So,
I mean, you look right now, and their safeties are playing within 8 yards of the ball.
As Proctor rolls out to the left, he's just going to run out of bounds. Let's see if he picked up anything on that play. It's going to be second.
Looks like he got back to the line of scrimmage.
Third down and 8.
Again, you'd like to see him just throw that ball away.
Yes, and
not even give the defense a chance to get any contact on him.
As he got back to he lost 2 yards on that.
He did. He lost 2 yards to bring up 3rd and 10.
That's something that they're going to have to get him in the quarterback room, and because that's 3 times he's ran out of bounds and lost yardage instead of just pulling up and throwing it out.
Right. You throw it away, you don't lose the yards, and you don't risk getting hit.
Snap back, and he wasn't expecting it, but he dropped back, and he's back running for his life again as Proctor's going to run up, and he's just going to throw that one out of bounds.
Right.
But that's not what Mexia needed. Mexia needed to move the ball and score on that possession.
And you know what? I don't think Proctor nor anyone else on the offense was ready for that ball to be snapped. Seems like everyone else was still standing there getting ready, and the ball came back to Proctor, and he got it because no receivers or anyone broke when that ball was snapped back.
As the Blackcats come out here to punt, got Prince Banks punting again. We got 21. Mosley back to return for the Tigers. So we got a snap back and punt by Banks. It's a good punt, and we got a fair catch by Mosley. We're going to have to do something right here. We're going to have to get a turnover to change momentum right here.
You're going to have to flip the field and try to get the ball back in Tiger on the Tiger side of the 50 and get something going, because we're not really getting any big movement with our offense right now, so we need a big momentum swing and then try to take advantage of that.
We need big Arick, number 70, to get in there and get a loss for 5 or 6 like he did on the start of this last drive.
Yeah.
Or the drive before they scored the long touchdown.
You know, what we've seen is when we're able to make a play and get Malakoff behind the sticks, they really struggle moving the ball as well. So we're gonna need a stand from our defense or something to happen so that we can get the ball back here.
As we come out, we have Davis in the backfield with Peace, and as most plays are motioning back across, and we're going to have a tackle in the back. Are they going to get him down? They're going to sack him,
and that's Dontavius.
And they're going to throw did they fumble the ball?
No, it looks like he held on to it.
He threw a beanbag down. That's what I was wondering. Maybe he was just trying to mark where the tackle was there.
Maybe so.
But we're going to have a loss of about 14 yards on that.
And that's just what we were talking about, is getting them behind the sticks early. And now maybe the Blackcats can capitalize on that big play on defense by number 35.
As we speak, we got exactly what we were talking about we needed in the Blackcats lineup. They have trips down here to the bottom and one up top with Peace and Davis in the backfield. They motion Davis out, and usually when they do that, they look at the bubble, and he's going to be a quarterback run up the middle, and they're going to stop him
at the 25,
which is going to bring up a third down and about 13 for the Tigers. All they did there, Wallace, was spread everybody out.
Right.
And let their quarterback use his athleticism.
Yeah, when you spread everybody out like that, the defense spreads out, and then you have about 6 people blocking about 5 or 6 on the defense, and you hope that your runner can make a play with their feet. And that's what the quarterback did there until Cooper was able to get a hold to him and bring him down.
Well, as we come up, it's going to be 3rd and 14. We got trips up to the top and one down to the right with Davis in the backfield with Peace. And we have a drop back. It's just going to be a little screen.
Oh,
and he's going to miss him.
The cornerback.
And he's off to the races as Mosley roses down the sideline and knocked out about the 35-yard line. It looked like that was going to be a big play for the Blackcats in the backfield, and we had a missed tackle, and he went for about 40 to 50 yards.
It looked like the cornerback, looks like that's Jalen Busby, had him in his sights and was bearing down on him, and the receiver just put a little sidestep move on him and rumbled on up the field for, like we said, about a 50-yard gain.
That's tough when you have them that far behind the chains and you allow them to get a first down after you have a big play. As we have some Blackcats come onto the field late. We're going to snap back to Peace, and he's just going to hand off. And
he's met by big A.K. Metlock in the backfield.
When that man wants to play, I don't think there's nobody that can stop him.
No, there's not many that are going to be able to stop him when he goes.
And that was Hart that had the handoff, and that was a loss of about 2 yards.
You know, he gets those big arms out and moves around that offensive lineman, and then he's nimble moving around to get to the ball carrier.
He's always been one heck of an athlete. He was a heck of a baseball player as a youngster playing all the way coming up. And he was one of them, you put a bat in his hand. When he hit the ball, it went. We're to snap back to Peace. He's going to roll out to the left as we have Cooper coming up. He's going to throw a ball straight downfield. And there was 2 Blackcats on the coverage, and it's an incomplete pass. So that's going to bring up a 3rd and 12.
You know, and the Tiger receiver was running down the field, and the Cat defenders were running right there with him. You would have liked to see one of the defenders turn their head and find the ball, and we could have had a possible interception, as that ball looks like it caromed off the back of one of the Blackcat defenders' helmet.
Yes. As we come up to the line, looks like Proctor's checked in at the right corner. And the Tigers are looking over to get their play, and I think they're going to call timeout as there's only 6 seconds left on the play clock. 38 seconds left in the quarter as Malakoff takes a timeout. As Malakoff takes a timeout, we're going to take a timeout and go to our sponsors. We'll be back at Black Cat Field in moments. As we come back to Black Cat Field, we have 38 seconds left in the third quarter with Malakoff leading 10-0. Just a couple of scores. La Vega's up 21-7 now, and Mart is down 16-20 going into the fourth quarter. But we have Peace back here to take the snap in the shotgun once again. 3rd and 12, and there's a little pass inside, and Lamarian Miller.
Yeah, he meets the receiver immediately. And brings up 4th and about 7.
Lamarian just walked to the back, buddy. The wide receiver got up jawing at Lamarian, and you know all he was wanting to do is get a reaction out of him.
Right, and we have to hold our heads and be smart now.
We got 4th and 7. If the Black Cats can get a good stand here, that'll give them good starting field position.
Looks like the Tigers are going to let the clock run down, and we'll start the fourth quarter with the Cats down 10-0 to the Malakoff Tigers. And we'll come back at the beginning of the fourth quarter with Malakoff's ball on the 35-yard line.
As we come back to Black Cat Field, Greer Media Time bringing you the game. Wallace High and Jeremy Sunday on the call. Snap back to Peace on 4th down. He's rolling out to his right.
Oh.
Black Cat's got his hand. He's going to throw it deep to the end zone. And we're going to have a penalty. But the problem with that is the offense initiated that.
The offensive man grabbed the defender and wouldn't let him go and pulled him into him. And the back judge threw the flag.
That was a horrible call. If anything, you let that go because the offensive man was the one that pulled him back to him.
The defender's hands were up in the air to try to go up to deflect the ball.
That was horrible, completely horrible.
Yeah. You could clearly see the receiver's arms go around the defender and pull him to him, and then the back judge threw the flag and called it against the Black Cats.
That's absolutely a bad break for the Black Cats and a horrible call on the officials. Because he was running down and he got pulled into him. He didn't run into him. And if the side judge would have thrown it, which had a much better angle.
Right.
But now we have 1st and 10 on the 19-yard line for the Tigers, and they have motion, and they're going to hand off to him this time.
A little jet sweep around the end, and the
they're
Cats are there. And
tackling.
Oh, the ball's loose, and they're going to call him down by contact.
Blackcats are going to have to get a stand here as they've had a couple of bad breaks their way. But at the same time, they've hurt themselves as well.
Yeah. Like we said, they get a stop, and then there's a penalty that comes out and allows Malakoff to keep their drive going. And
that ball was not even catchable to start with. The ball didn't even come down anywhere near the wide receiver. So
no, that ball was about 8 to 10 yards away from the receiver.
As we snap back to Peace, he's going to hand up. No,
he's
going to fake it
around the left
and
edge.
Cooper's right out here to get him.
And he pulls him down.
And that might be enough for a first down, they're going to mark him on the 10-yard line.
It looks like he'll be just short of the first down.
So that'll bring up 3rd and 1, and we'll see what the Blackcats do here. And see how much backbone these Cats have, because with a call like that, it really can break your back.
Right, and you can't allow a bad call like that to get you down to the point where you lose focus on what you've been doing. And we're going to see if the Cats can hold them out of the end zone here.
We need Big Arick to make a big play in the backfield right here, because they're going to hand the ball off. Surely they're not going to throw it on 3rd and 1. Snap back, and it's just a quarterback sneak up the middle, and they're going to be there to tackle him, but it's going to be enough for the first down.
Yeah, he gets down to about the 7-yard line.
I'm watching these officials. Wallace and I, about 3 or 4 years ago, I officiated a couple times, but I'm watching these side judges, and I cannot tell where the ball is, because you look up and they're 3 or 4 yards downfield from where the tackle's going on, and that they're supposed to be the ones marking the ball.
Yeah.
Like the one on the right side was inside the 5, and we're on the 7-yard line. As we got motion here, got Davis in the pistol behind Peace, and he's going to snap out a little wishbone. Hey, there's a holding right there. There is no way they did not see that holding out there on the cornerback.
Wow.
That is absolutely horrible.
That line judge watched the play happen, looked at the holding. The receiver literally took the cornerback and tackled him to the ground to allow the ball carrier to get outside.
There's 2 calls right there, just mind blowing.
And that sideline judge just looked at the play, looked at the play happen between the receiver and the cornerback, and turned his back and ran into the end zone and signaled touchdown.
Well, that drive, Malakoff can thank the officials for that touchdown. As we line up for the extra point, it's 16-0. Malakoff with 9 minutes and 43 seconds left. Snap back, kick up.
And good.
That kicker has got one heck of a cannon for a leg.
Yeah, he does. That ball jumps off of his foot. And right now, the teams are going back to their sidelines, and we'll get ready for a kickoff from Malakoff to.
Well, on this officiating situation, I don't know if people know, but when you officiate these games, on Saturday morning, film is sent in, and you're graded. Well, I can tell you on these last 2 calls, those are going to be both bad grades on those 2 officials, because that's just horrible officiating right there on that drive.
Yeah, and, a lot of times you chalk it up to good blocking by a receiver or something out there when he springs someone. But when you look up and the cornerback's trying to make a play to the ball carrier and he gets slung around in a circle and then thrown to the ground, it's usually because he's being held and drugged down. But there was no call on that. And, the Cats are going to have to pick their heads up and play through that adversity, and we're going to have to put the ball in the end zone. The Cats are going to have to make a play. Someone's going to have to step up and make a big play for the Cats and try to swing this momentum.
See if we can't get a real good kickoff return. As we got Trey Jones and Lamarian Miller back to receive the kick. However, as strong of a leg as this as 23 has for Romero, this is the first time they've kicked it deep.
And it was still a little bell ringer.
It's going to be B.J. Sunday on the return, and he's just going to be tackled inside his own 20-yard line, about the 18. It looked like he was going to hand off to Miller on a return around on the left end, but he kept it and went back across the middle, and that's where all the white jerseys were.
Right. And we talk about Romero's leg, and a lot of times at this age, in high school, when you have a kicker with as big of a leg as he does, they can outkick their coverage a lot, and some coaches don't want that to happen. So we've seen that little bell ringer kick to about between the 20 and the 30 all night. And Malakoff's been able to get down and cover it pretty well.
Well, as we come out, we're going to have Proctor up underneath the center this time. He's going to snap back to Proctor as he's going to pitch out to Wiley to the right, and he's going to run up hard for about 5 yards. Like we said earlier, that man is running hard, hard, hard. As Mexia goes into a no huddle, Proctor walks up underneath center one more time with 9 minutes left in the game. And he drops back, and he's rolling out to his right once again. He's just going to throw it out of bounds, and we're going to have Mexia 2nd and 5. Wallace?
It'll be 3rd and 5 on this. But, I'd like to see Proctor stand in the pocket and look to throw that ball a little longer. He actually had time that play, but instead of stepping up and hanging in there, he decided to roll out.
Instead of stepping up into the pocket, which is what you teach your quarterbacks, he automatically rolls out, does the Romo spin to the right or the left. But they've got to give him, as Wiley breaks up the middle, he's breaking out to the left. He's down the middle of the field, and ain't nobody going to catch Darrell Wiley on this play. As he went straight up the middle, never touched, and went the distance for the touchdown for the Blackcats. First touchdown of the night. That is the one thing about him.
That's the game, and he's a game changer. He is in himself. And that's the play that the Cats needed to hopefully shift this momentum and get themselves going. And here they're going to set up for their point after attempt as they set up in their usual swinging gate formation. They wait for big number 54 to get down the field, and the referee comes down behind him. And now we line up in the traditional field goal alignment.
I still, after 3 weeks, do not understand that at all. I mean, I'm all about some trickery. I love trickery, but that's just after you've seen it the first week, there's no trick in there. As the kick is back, or the snap is back and the kick is up, Martinez puts it through, and that makes it 17-7 with 8 minutes and 57 seconds left at Blackcat Field as the Blackcats finally strike from about a 65-yard run on Wiley to inch closer to Malakoff. Now, if Mexia can get a good kickoff here and a stop on defense.
Right, and that was the big play that the Blackcats needed because, like you said, we hadn't done much on offense all night, and Malakoff seemed like they were carrying all the momentum as they had scored 17 unanswered points. So to come back and answer in that way was big. We're going to need to get a good kickoff and stop the return and then get a good defensive stance, get the ball back. With 8:57 left, you're going to need another quick strike because you're still down 2 possessions.
Yeah, you're playing against time now, plus playing against Malakoff.
So the teams are taking the field to prepare for the kickoff and the return. And like we said, Darrell Wiley runs the ball hard. And we talked about it at halftime, how it seemed like they were just one hand or one arm away from breaking a big one, and that time he caught the seam that he needed, and once he split the first and second levels, there was nobody that was going to catch him.
There was one man that looked like he might have a chance, and he made one cut to the right, and he just turned around and watched him run into the end zone because there's no catching Wiley when he breaks loose. There's not too many in the state that are going to be able to catch him from behind. As Martinez kicks one high, let's see if a Blackcat can fall under it.
Oh, and
now, I don't understand that. That Blackcat could have jumped up and caught that.
No, because
fair catch that?
He signaled fair catch. And that's a rule change that took place about 3 or 4 years ago that allows that front line of the return team to fair catch the ball.
Well, I was watching the ball as high as it was kicked. I never seen the fair catch. My thing was I was kind of wondering why we didn't want to pin them deep. I mean – That
I
would have
don't
been
know.
the time you wanted
Yeah.
to pin them deep and try to play field position on them.
Yeah, I think we should have tried to kick the ball deep and hold them back.
If you were going to do that, you should have just onside kicked it.
Yeah, I think maybe he thought that we were going to be able to surprise him and get something quick.
As we got motion up front, just like usual, snap back to Peace, and he's just going to be a quarterback keeper. He's going to run up the middle for about 6 yards, maybe 7.
And again, that's where they just widen out our defense, and then they go man-on-man blocking and try to let the quarterback make a play with his feet.
As Dawson Scott enters the ball game again, Mexia, as Malakoff starting to slow the ball, to slow their call-ins down.
Yeah, with the clock running down, they're going to try to use it to their advantage and run some time off, and just in case they do have to give the ball back to Mexia again.
Well, I noticed earlier Mexia went to halftime with 3 timeouts.
Yeah.
There was a time or two we could have taken timeouts to give us a little extra time in the first half, but we didn't use our timeouts. We come back to play here. They snap back to Peace.
That's going to be a legal procedure. Oh, we get a timeout from Malakoff.
Right there, what I don't understand is the coach looked down at the play clock the whole time, and he waited and waited and waited to get his call in. And then he had to call a timeout, and he's mad at his own players. But
right.
It was him
right.
that was watching the clock, not getting the play in.
Right. You wait to let the clock run down, and then you finally give them the play, and they line up, and then you have a guy going in motion, and you got a lot of stuff going on, and then you're upset because they don't get it off on time. And, you can't really be upset at your players because you didn't manage the time wisely to get the play into them.
And I know you've been a coach of youngsters as I've been a coach of youngsters, and during the game we all get caught up, and after the game you think, man, I wish I could have done it that way, or I wish I would have done it that way. But these guys, this is what they do for a living, and he was in a state playoff last year, so there's that shouldn't have been no problem there.
Line up again with Peace in the backfield.
Snap back is just going to be a quarterback, and they're going to tackle him for about a 5-yard loss. And that is big.
That's number 25 and number 35 were the first
Connor
two to
McNeil. That was big Connor McNeil in there.
They were able to shoot that gap. And
as he comes up cramping. We're getting into the 3rd game of the year. We shouldn't be having cramps right now. Would you think? He's cramping on both legs.
And he's able to get off the field. Hopefully they can get it worked out and get him back on the field.
Well, what helped is Malakoff substituted. So once Malakoff substituted, they had to give us time to substitute. So as they're back up at 3rd and 10, the Blackcats need to stop right here with 7.5 minutes left. They're running out of town.
It's a delayed draw, and the Cats are there, and they pull him down behind the line of scrimmage again.
And see that right there, Dawson Scott's got to be careful. He almost got a piling on right after play. So they made a big stop, and they're going to get the ball back. And with 7 minutes left, there's plenty of time. This might be a time as a coach I might call a timeout just to keep from running. All they're going to do is run the time down.
Well, I think right now you're down 2 scores, so I think you hold on to those timeouts right here, and you try to get the ball back and hopefully get something quick, and then use your timeouts on the other side.
And it's going to be a kick to Trey Holman. He's going to pick it up, and he's going to have plenty of room to run. He breaks up the left side.
And he trips up.
The turf monster grabbed him because there was nobody around him.
He beat those first 2 gunners down the field, and it looked like he had 2 people about 5 yards ahead of him, and he was about to make a cut back to the inside that probably would have freed him for a lot more running room. And as he made the cut, his feet slipped from under him, and he went down. But that's a great return by Holman. Now the Cats are going to have to capitalize and use it.
Let's see who they bring out. They have Prince out to the left with Holman, twins with him, and Clark out here to the right. In the backfield, we have Evans. As they motion, they bring Holman and Wiley to the backfield with Proctor. It's a snap back. Proctor keeps it, and he's going to run around the left end. He's got a lot of room. Let's see if he can break down the left sideline, and he gets about 13 yards.
And he's out of bounds to stop the clock.
He almost ran over McNeil over there getting stretched out for cramps. As Proctor.
And this is what you need is you need your offense to move the ball.
They marked him short on the first down there.
It looked like he went out of bounds around the 45. They're marking it at the 48.
Snap back. We're going to hand off to Wiley up the middle again, running hard, and he's going to have enough for the first down. It's going to be another Black Cat first down.
And right now, Malakoff, they're just trying to lay on him and run the clock. And as an official, you're supposed to manage that and get them off of him.
That's a 15-yard penalty right there. As the Black Cats come up to the line of scrimmage, we got twins to the bottom, 2 tailbacks. We're going to hand off to Wiley up the middle. And he's going. Oh, we got a flag coming in, and usually right there.
There's going to be an area of a holding.
Once again, as we've talked about all night, Wallace, we get going, and the next thing you know, here comes some yellow laundry.
Yep. And you want to keep that laundry off the field if you're trying to move the ball down to score. Especially we need to score quick because we're going to have to get the ball back and try to go score again.
Well, it looks like they brought Lamarian Miller out to the left.
And he's a big play receiver, you know. With his speed and his size, he can take the roof off of the defense.
The problem now is the Tigers know we need a big play, so they're giving them lots of cushion to where earlier in the game they were playing up on top of them, and it would have been easier to run by him. But he's got single coverage to the top. There's no sense we shouldn't be going to the top on him. Proctor fakes it, keeps it, and fumbles the ball.
He cuts back.
We got another flag down.
And then he's drugged down at the 40-yard line.
Once again, we got yellow flag down on the ground. Against the Black Cats, it looks like. It's going to be a holding down here to the bottom.
You know, and that's one thing that has killed the Black Cats tonight is one mistake has compounded into several more, and we end up taking our momentum where we're marching down the field and we end up going backwards.
As Malakoff is going to decline this one, that's going to make it about a 3rd and 22 to 23.
Yeah, it was a loss of about 7 yards on that play.
Somehow we have got to move the ball down the field in the air. We've got to stop all the running around. Mahia takes a timeout right here. As we take a break, we're going to go to our sponsors, and we'll be back to Black Cat Field in just a moment.
Brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Park, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.
As we come back to Black Cat Field, we got the Black Cats with 3rd and 20, about a 3rd and 22. We have Proctor and Wiley in the backfield. We got what? Oh, we got a bunch of misplaying. Mahia's come into a. We're going to have a snap, and it's going to be a long throw to Trey Holman. He catches it, and he's going to go in for an end zone for a touchdown.
And that's a quick strike by the Black Cats.
Mahia completely took a timeout, come out with a trick play, moved everybody around, got everybody set, threw the ball backwards to Prince Banks, and he hits Holdman streaking down the field.
One thing you have to remember is Prince has played quarterback his entire career, and he's actually the backup quarterback. And it was a beautiful throw down the field, and it hit Trey Holman in stride, and he just pulled away from the defender.
Once again, we have our swinging gate trickery extra point as Martinez comes in for the extra point, and that's going to bring it to 17-14 with 5 minutes and 53 seconds left if he's able to make this. Snap is back. Martinez kick is up, and it looks like it's right down the middle, and that brings it to 17-14 with Mahia 3 points away from tying the game up.
You know, with 5:53 left in the game, you have 3 timeouts. You would think you come out here and you kick it deep and try to pin them deep and then let your defense step up and use your timeout.
Back to that big play we've been saying all night long, you have got to take the top off of it.
Right.
Well, we're sitting here thinking drop back and let's hit one down the sideline. Sandoval comes out and he had so much movement. Malakoff did not know what was going on.
I seen like 2 Malakoff defenders standing next to the quarterback. They had to run back and try to get set up. And all it was just a big shift. He shifted linemen he had 3 linemen. It looked like an old 6-man play. There was 3 linemen in the middle of the field. He had 2 more linemen and a tight end out, split wide to the right. A couple receivers with Banks looked like a traditional 3-man stack out to the left. And when he snapped the ball, he snapped it to Proctor. Proctor threw it out left, and Holman ran straight up the middle and split the defense, and Prince Banks hit him on a great pass.
But once again, took the top off the defense.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we've been talking about all night is we've run the ball into the teeth of that defense. Eventually, we had to go do something and get the ball over the top, and the couple times we've been able to move the ball, it's been big plays. So right now we need to see what we're going to do on this
gets ready
kickoff.
For the kickoff, and he's going to kick it deep down the right side. And they catch it, and there's a whole host of Blackcats there to hit him.
Oh, he's still
and he's
on
still
his
fighting.
feet.
He's still fighting as we have one Blackcat jump on top.
You know, and I know he's jumping on top hoping to bring him down, but you have to be smart. You're jumping on top from behind him, so your momentum just pushed the runner about another 2 or 3 yards forward instead of grabbing and letting your defense push him back. So the Tigers will take over at their own 37-yard line.
And as we were talking earlier, Mejia's completely taken all the momentum in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And now it's going to come down to which team's in better shape.
Right, and you know, we talked about that at halftime, and with fatigue setting in, who's going to step up and make a play? The Cats defense is going to have to become big.
The home crowd is getting ridiculously loud out here. It's going to step back, and here comes Peace, and it's going to be hit right at the line of scrimmage and brought down.
And that's maybe a gain of maybe a foot on that play.
There's no way that you can't feel the electricity in the stadium from the home crowd. They have the cowbells out. They're screaming.
There's a Tiger player down, which is going to stop the clock.
And you can just feel the momentum has completely shifted, and we hope that this young man down is going to be okay and walk off his own power. But in the last 2 to 3 minutes, the whole sideline of the Mexia Blackcats has just changed.
Right. You know, and we were talking about those momentum plays, and that's exactly what Mexia got. Were 2 big momentum swingers here in the fourth quarter. And right now we have a 3-point game again, and we're going to, as number 50 for the Tigers gets up off of the field and he's being helped off the field.
Clapping. Hope he's all right. He's one of them big old offensive linemen we've been talking about tonight, and we surely hope that he's all right.
You know, as the Tigers and then the Blackcat defense come back onto the field.
Listen to how loud that crowd is, Wallace.
The Blackcat side of the stadium has gotten a lot louder. You see the people up on their feet, the sidelines bouncing around, and now you're just needing a big stand and a big play from your defense to try to get this ball back to your offense.
What would a turnover do right here for the Blackcats?
Right.
So we got –
you have to expect they're going to try to keep the ball in number 3's hands, as he's been their playmaker all night.
So as we come back up, it's going to be 2nd and 9. Snap back to Peace.
Hand off to Davis,
and they're going to hit him right at the line.
He was snowed under. I'm trying to see who that was.
I'm sorry, that's Rose, not Davis. So that
was number 21, Dravion Cooper, who got in there and took his legs, and I think big Eric Medlock was up high and brought him down right at the line.
Connor McNeil, luckily, is coming back in. He's come back in off having them cramps. We have a 3rd and 7 here, and if the Blackcats were to get a stop here, the home sideline would absolutely erupt. As they come back to the line of scrimmage, Pieces in the backfield with Rose. We have motion. Snap back to Pieces. He's going to drop back and roll out to the left.
To throw the ball.
He's trying to throw it down the middle,
there.
But we got a man wide open down the middle.
He dropped the ball. And that's a great play by number 6, Jaleel Wright, on flying from his safety spot in the middle of the field and being able to jar that ball loose, because it looked like the receiver had caught it and was going to have a big play.
That was an outstanding play by Wright. 17 was all by himself. The ball hit his hands. Looks like he had it pulled in, and Jaleel just completely slaps the ball out of his hand at about the 15-yard line. which would have been a backbreaker for the Blackcats.
And again, it looks like when they motion a man over to get that trips on one side of the field, we're not accounting for that middle receiver. And the Tigers line up to punt, and the kick's away. Oh, and he shanks it off the side of his foot. Cats are getting away from it, and it's out at the 40-yard line of the Blackcats.
As the whole sideline is bouncing for the Blackcats, and the home crowd is completely back in this game.
Right. The energy on the Blackcat side of the field has gone from being down after dropping to 17-0, and now they're stormed back to bring the score within 3 points and made a couple big plays. And if you've seen that ball shanked off the punter's foot, you can see everyone on their sideline start to jump and bounce around as the offense takes the field.
We come back out here. We got one to the top and one to the bottom with 2 running backs in the back with Proctor. That would be Holdman and Wiley. Snap back. It's going to be a handoff to Wiley up the middle. And he breaks it, and he's going to get about 10 or 11 yards. Once again, they are marking him at terrible.
The bottom line judge gave him the spot with the first down. The top line judge, I don't know if he's having trouble seeing where the ball's going down or not, but he has not been
back
accurate.
In the same lineup. Proctor hand off to Wiley up the middle again. He breaks out to the left. They take him down for about a 2-yard gain, but we are in Tiger territory. We have 3 minutes and 57 seconds left. The biggest thing Mejia's got to understand right here, they don't have to be in a big hurry.
No, you want to manage the clock and make sure you get down to a spot where you can get points on the board.
As we come back, we still have 2 split backs in the back behind Proctor as they roll out Holdman. They try to take someone out, and they give it out to Wiley to the left. He's going around the corner.
Again, they are grabbing him by the back of that jersey and those shoulder pads.
That is
dragging him down, and there's no flag.
That is a horse collar tackle, no doubt, right in front of the side judge. And maybe he just left his yellow flag at the house.
I think maybe he left his eyeglasses at the house, because there's been a couple of black calls and missed calls over there right on that sideline.
The Blackcats shift again. They're going back into this crazy lineup where they bring all 3 linemen out.
And there's timeout Malakoff.
Malakoff calls timeout as they're scared of another touchdown being thrown to them.
Well, with 3 minutes left, that timeout stops the clock. And it also moves Malakoff down to only having 1 timeout left in this half. So I'm not going to say that, the coaching staff from Mexia doesn't use that play just to make Malakoff stop the clock and waste a timeout.
And, of course, this is 2-down territory, no doubt.
Right. Yeah, it's 4-down territory from here. You have to be looking to score. There's no punting at this point in the game. You have 3 minutes left. You're down 3 points. You have to be looking to move the ball down the field and get into scoring position.
As we had a timeout by the Tigers.
And Wiley's running the ball hard, and like we said, they're playing an 8 or 9 man box every time. And eventually you hope the Cats will see, we've seen it and we've done it a couple times.
We come out with a different formation.
Yeah, we have
here
4
for the
receivers. We have a double stack on both sides of the field.
And this is a new formation. We got Proctor and Wiley in the back, and Proctor's asking for the play as they might be changing it here. He hollers out the line call to the line. Proctor takes the snap. He's going to hand it off to Wiley. He's going to pull it out here to the right, and he's got nothing but room on the right side.
He's out around the edge.
And he's going to make that. Oh, there's no way.
Flag.
There it is, finally. Finally.
That's a horse collar and a late hit on the Tiger defense.
That it's about time they called horse collar against the Tigers tonight, because that's about the 3rd or 4th time that's happened.
Right, and you're looking at Proctor, and he clearly had the edge on the man, and if that defender doesn't lay out and grab the back of his pads and pull him down, Proctor might have ran for another 10 or 15 yards on that play.
So Mejia's in business with 2 minutes and 54 seconds left. They're going to be on the Tiger 23-yard line. This is a great game tonight, Wallace.
Right.
Now, as we come back up, we got wides to the one side and the other split back. We're going to hand it off to Wiley up the middle. He's going to break one tackle, break one, and we're going to have Holden on the –
It'll be on 64 of the Blackcats.
It'll be on 64 of the Blackcats. It was no doubt. He had him a good tackle there.
Right. And those are the plays we don't need, and you want to stay away from.
Wiley gets up limping a little bit. Might have got twisted as he did one of his spins there in the hole.
He looks like he's walking out of it. He's straightening up as he walks on back to the huddle.
Once again,
you just hope that man stays healthy as hard as he runs the ball.
Once again, Mejia's driving. Looks like they got it all on their side, and we get a penalty.
Right.
And the part about that penalty was that was way behind the play.
Yeah, I mean, the penalty happened about 4 or 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
We got Lamar Miller up top. That's the first time he's been in a little bit. And Proctor's got 2 running backs and snap back, and he's going to run up the middle by himself. He's going to juke a man, and he's going to get sacked in the back. Lamar Miller's all by himself up top. Just throw the football. I mean,
you have to learn to have faith in your receivers, and you know he's fast. You know he can jump. He can get out behind the defender. Sometimes you have to throw it out there and let him go get it.
Let him go get the ball. And the athlete that Miller is,
right.
There's not going to be too many that's going to take the ball from him. But you've got to just throw it up.
Yeah, we can't. Mejia can't keep taking the negative plays. You know, we've gone from 1st and 10 at the 24 to now we're looking at 2nd and about 21.
As Proctor comes, we got Wiley in.
The ball dribbles back to the quarterback.
He's just going to throw it up. Down the middle of the field, there's Lamar Miller we talked about, and it's an interception at the 5-yard line.
He throws it into double coverage. He had a receiver that broke off on the post route that looked like he came wide open.
Well, once again, we talked about this earlier.
Right.
We had 2 wide receivers in the same area.
Yeah.
However, the good thing about this is the Blackcats have them at the 5-yard line and have 2 timeouts.
Right, you're gonna have to get big stops from your defense. Hopefully, make a big play and you can try to get a turnover. You have to expect Malakoff to try to run the clock down from this point on.
This is one of them big plays like Arick's had in the whole second half,
right.
Of 3 or 4 yard loss on the first down, and you call a timeout.
And on that last play, you want to relay to your quarterback that he doesn't have to get everything on that. You know, just get the ball up. Get some yardage, move the ball up, and keep the ball in your possession to possibly kick a field goal and tie this game up.
As they stop him on about the 9-yard line, we're going to have a timeout for Mejia.
I'll stop the clock.
The thing about that, Wallace, going back to throwing that ball, I'm sorry, you have Lamar Miller on the outside. You run everybody to your right, and you have one-on-one coverage and throw the ball down the sideline to Miller. Not in the middle of the field where everybody is.
That time we tried to go to the middle, and you had 2 receivers run into the middle of the field, and all that happened is Miller had his man beat, but the safety that was covering the inside receiver saw that and just dropped back over to Miller, and he was the one that was able to make the interception. So right now the teams are in their huddles, and they're talking about what's going to happen. You know, it's going to be 2nd and about 6 for the Tigers at the Tiger 9-yard line.
Somebody's going to have to step up and pull the ball out here, or we need a bad snap. And on that last play, that was another thing. We had another bad snap to start that play, and that's what's killed the Blackcats tonight. Has been they get to moving the ball, and we get a penalty, and then a bad snap, and then we get a sack, and next thing you know, we're way behind the chains. As we come to the play here, we got 1:34 left. The Blackcats trying to stop and there's Arick up in the middle again. And I thought they.
And the Cats were able to bring down the Tiger runner at about the 10-yard line, 11-yard line. So it'll bring up 3rd and about 6 or a long 5. And we got another timeout by the Cats with 1:28 on the clock.
Arick was in the backfield right off the snap of that ball.
Right.
But they went opposite way of Arick. If they'd have went the other way, Arick had them for about a 4 or 5 yard loss.
And I think that's what you can expect. They're not, big A.K. Medlock, he's been able to play in the backfield all night. And you can expect for him to go away from him. And you're going to hope he can keep making those moves and get back there and hopefully make a big stop here on 3rd down to bring up a 4th down.
Right here, your defense is going to have to gamble and hope that you can slant the direction that they're running right now, because you have no more timeouts. Exactly. You have to get it to 4th down and make them punt, so you have 30 or 40 seconds left to play with. As the Tigers come up, we have Peace in the backfield. The Blackcats move up front and snap, and they're going to run, and they are going to get him in. No. He's going to be sacked. Is they going to get him out of bounds? No. But he's not going to get a first down. So we're going to have fourth down.
Fourth down and about 2.
And they're going to have about 40 seconds left on this clock when they have to punt it or they take the penalty. So.
And it's going to be fourth down and about 3 at the Malakoff 12-yard line.
And Malakoff doesn't have to punt this ball until about 2 or 3 seconds left. Of course, you're going to have Trey Holdman back that has been so close to breaking one.
The ball's going to have to be punted with about 42 seconds on the clock. So you're gonna hope that Holdman can.
They're going to get a penalty here.
No, that's going to be a delay of game penalty.
And by the back judge back here, he did throw a flag, and that's going to be a delay of game.
It's going to move Malakoff back to their own 7-yard line.
And it does benefit them a little bit, even though it stops, because it's just half the distance. So now on this kick, it's just going to run more clock off. But Holdman is out here in the open field where he's been dangerous.
I mean, right here, you're expecting to get the ball around the 40. It wouldn't be a bad time to try to run some pressure in on the kicker. Their snaps haven't been great all night.
And he low kick.
He gets it away.
And it's going to be a shank off to his right.
Oh, it bounces back into the middle of the field, and you
stop it right there on the
47-yard line.
With 30 seconds left, the Blackcats are going to have one last chance to go down and score. So it's going to have to be passing, and we can't be running around in the backfield trying to make something happen.
No, and you have no timeouts with 30 seconds left. When you're looking at it, that means you're going to have about 2 shots towards the sidelines through the air to try to advance the ball. And if you get down inside of about 17 seconds, you're going to have to rush your field goal unit on if you're close enough to try to kick a field goal and tie it, or you're going to have to take shots at the end zone.
See, here we come out. We're going to have twins to the top and twins to the bottom. We have Prince out here on the bottom. We got Miller up top. With Holdman in the slot, we got Evan Harrison in the slot with Wiley and Proctor in the back. Snap back. He's going to just throw it. No, he's going to roll out to the left.
He keeps rolling, and he's got time. Get out of bounds.
You got to get out of bounds. He runs back across the field.
He picks up a big block.
We got a big block.
No.
There is no way. He was in the face.
That's a clean block.
That was a clean block.
That's a clean block, and we get a flag.
This is a horrible officiating crew tonight. He had turned around. He put his helmet in his chest.
He was running and chasing the defender, and the receiver just came back and blocked. He didn't hit him on the side. He didn't hit him in the back. The defender was turned and running, chasing Proctor, and there was a clean block there. That is not a good call by the officiating crew.
And there's 3 flags, so 3 of them are saying they seen that, but that was clearly a helmet in the chest.
Right.
Unless you're going to get them for
hitting
him too hard.
It wasn't helmet to helmet. It wasn't a block in the back. It wasn't a peel back. You know, they've changed the rules on the crackback, but it's not a crackback if the defender is turning and chasing and you hit him face to face.
Is we're finna start out back where we were almost. And we wasted 15 seconds. We have got to throw the football and quit running it. We're going to be back where we were. 1st and 10. Lined up. We're going to have Banks to the top and Miller's coming down here to the bottom. But we've got to throw the ball here.
And you have Miller over here set up single side. I don't know. We're again shifting it.
Snap back.
No. And that's going to be the ball game. You have to throw the ball or you have to get out of bounds on that play.
There's no way. The umpires are not going to snap it. Malakoff is going to get out of here with a win, but this is one heck of a game.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You had Miller down here on the single side with a cornerback that didn't look like he was really knowing what was going on. I think you should have taken your chance with snapping it and throwing it deep to Miller over here by himself. But anyways, I mean, down 17-0, the Cats fought back hard, in that 4th quarter to come up a little bit short. And this is nothing short of a good game.
And the Cats come on the losing end of this one tonight. 17-14 was a tough fought game. But in all reality, I'm just going to say, as a person that's watched football for a long time, I don't blame the refs. And I mean, two teams fight against each other, but Malakoff's last touchdown was pretty much given to them on calls that were just ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, you know, and in hindsight, they're bad calls, and the officiating crew will sit down when they review film, and hopefully they'll see that. But, you know, like we say, you can't change the call once it's made.
Nope.
And, you know, the Cats have to come back and battle. And we had 2 chances here at the end, and we just couldn't get the ball down into the end zone.
It was a very exciting game, and we're fixing to close this out at Blackcat Field. But let's go over some scores before we leave for the night. We have Hubbard winning over Crossroads 49-6. We got Dawson beating Valley Mills 34-19. Martin Franklin's playing a close one, 20-16 in the fourth quarter. Graham is beating Brownwood 42-28. Cameron Yo are beating Gatesville 68-20. We have Whitney 27-14. Look at here, Freddie, you're going to like this. Groesback's beating Marlin 22-16 in the third quarter. Robinson's up on Troy 49-35. China Spring is up by 2 touchdowns over Conley tonight. We have a big upset brewing there in Waco.
China Spring's a good team.
Fairfield is up on Athens 38-25. Crockett has blown Grapeland out tonight. Grapeland was ranked number 2 in state, and Crockett has went in there and put it to them. La Vega won 21-7 tonight over LBJ. Salado won 50-0. Wortham's won 24-0. That puts Wortham 3-0 on the year.
Yeah.
Milford defeated Oakwood tonight 76-40 in 6-man. Grandview beat Venus 62-6. Caldwell beat Madisonville tonight 12-6, and Refugio beat Aransas Pass 48-7. Of course, here at Blackcat Field, Mahia lost a close one, a nail biter 17-14, and Chilton beat Maypearl 45-0. Well, from Greer Media Time, Wallace High, Jeremy Sunday, Freddie Greer, thank you for tuning in, and look forward to y'all listening to us next week, as we will be here for the JV Blackcat game, and we will be in Cold Spring for the varsity football Blackcats. Thank you from Greer Media Time. We'll catch you next week at the same Blackcat time.
To Mexia Sports Network. Tonight's game is brought to you by Greer Time Media, Posey Napa Auto Park, Greer and Greer Mobile Detail, Mookie's Mesquite Patch Barbecue, Woodman Life Insurance, and Joe Fridays.